And greetings, everybody. This is Laz, and you're tuned in to the PaxLair 20th anniversary party here in Shroud of the Avatar. And of course, we are out in PaxLair, hanging out with the crowd. Of course, everything's just getting started. And here out in PaxLair, we're joined by, who do we have here in Zoom room? We've got Sean Silverfoot. We've got Cambrian Star. We've got is Duke Gregor in here. We've got Nanos.
Lazarus, how do we get to the Zoom room?
You go to NBNN.info, click on the Zoom link, and you'll follow the instructions. It'll bring you right on it. It's pretty self-explanatory. If you have any questions, ask me. Otherwise, we are rolling. We are live on stream, and of course, the audio is live, so careful what you say, folks. People are listening, and welcome to the PaxLair 20th anniversary party here in PaxLair. Originally started in the Ultimate Online game, PaxLair has migrated over to Shroud of the Avatar, and of course, proudly serving 20 years to the crown in the Ultima series. And with that, I'm going to relinquish the mic for a minute and leave it to you guys. Of course, you guys are on, so Sean's on the phone. He's not even paying attention to this.
Just going to come out to the tavern and I'll start talking. Hello, everybody. Welcome to PaxLair's 20th anniversary.
Hey, everybody.
Happy 20th, everyone.
Huzzah! Huzzah!
Happy 20th, PaxLair.
Bunny rabbits! Bunny rabbits?
Everybody. You guys hear me okay? Guess they're having a party?
It's a party in PaxLair. Happy anniversary. Fish.
Did we lose, Sean Silverfoot?
Okay, were you guys not hearing me? Oh, okay. Then I'll repeat it. Now you know why Winfield is the master of ceremonies. Actually, I see him now in our Zoom meeting room, so I'm sure he'll be here shortly. What I was saying is welcome to PaxLair's 20th anniversary. We've been together 20 years in Ultima together at this point, and I have a couple of announcements to make. Brazen Spirituality is handling Avatar's radio for us. Amber Rain's computer fried, the hard drive, so she is unable to do that for us, and is kind of disappointed about it. Lazarus and NBN is streaming this for us, so we have a video record of it, and we thank him very much. Also, we thank Portalarium for allowing us to be involved with getting a PaxLair 20th anniversary cloak. Those of you that are in PaxLair, live in PaxLair, or are part of one of the 3 PaxLair guilds, will get one as long as I get your in-game name and your email associated with your Soda account at no cost. In saying that, we are also going to raffle off, call it raffle off, 20 other cloaks. They will be handled by the ARI Fund. You would go to arifund.org, choose one of their current events. That will be the Children's Miracle Network. Make your $25 donation in there. Make sure in the notes that you say PaxLair 20th and give your in-game username, please. We will eventually need your email address. You can PM that to me too. Lazarus will be verifying the receipt of that, and I'll be getting the names of the 20 people from Alibaba. So That's that situation there. I will start off right now by getting our. I'll do my speech and hope we can get Winfield, if you can hear me, into the PaxLair Discord event channel. That's where everybody can speak or listen also. And let me start off by reading my little thing that I wrote. I'll do my speech. Let me just clarify that everybody can hear me at this point.
Yep, loud and clear.
Okay. PaxLair. It started with my journey from a small vale outside of you called Tennekill, home of TFS, the Fellowship, traveling down the main road from you to Britain. My intent was to attend a gathering at a place called Luigi's Pizzeria in a town called PaxLair. I enjoyed an evening of readings and song and helped defend when a raid of bandits, killers known for their red status, happened. That single journey started me on a long road of adventure and camaraderie with the citizens of PaxLair. I watched as this city developed into a place where orcs, red-hued killers, and regular citizens came to gather and unite, care for each other, extending helping hands. I watched as the events of PaxLair drew many people and gave them a unique perspective on what the world of Caesarea could be. Since those early days, I spent the last 2 decades enjoying this experience, becoming so close with some it was impossible not to let them be part of my life on Earth, the so-called real world, which has its own versions of Reds, demons, and satyrs. Winfield, Windmere, Phoenix, Nanoct, and others became family. They've been with me through my children's graduations, weddings, and the birth of my grandchildren. They have supported me with the sickness of my greatest love, my wife, and through my own battles. We have cried together with the passing of very close friends, especially Azog, Mike, whose work developing the goblins of Pitmuck inspired us all to see how we could really change roles and enjoy our ethereal worlds more. Some worlds don't last, they fade with time. It's amazing that Caesarea itself has broken through and endured so long. Winfield, in his wisdom, searched for a world where we could continue that journey, knowing it would always be possible that the old world would fade. He then found New Britannia, a place being developed by the same folks who founded Caesarea. And it was here we settled at the mouth of the Brioche River and started to rebuild PaxLair for our brothers and sisters to follow, eventually, if Caesarea ever faded. There are those who may say ethereal friends, not treating them with the same respect and civility that they would others they meet in person. My experience with PaxLair has taught me differently. I've met a lot of these folks and they have become just as important as my own family. I respect them, I learn from them, I honor our friendship, and I love them all. They have given me great joy over decades. What more could one ask of true friends? No matter the realm. Pax et fortitudo, pax et veritas, pax et amore. May the light continue to shine on PaxLair. Sean Silverfoot.
Huzzah.
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
I tried applauding, but it didn't work because I'm on push to talk. Ha ha ha. Sick brain.
Thank you, Sean. That was wonderful.
Yeah, that was a very touching speech, Sean.
I'm very honored to be part of the PaxLair family.
As am I, hence my very sick booty is up doing the Redidio for y'all. Fortunately, so far I've not coughed on mic, so yay me.
Okay, is there anybody, while I'm waiting for Winfield, is there anybody else that would like to get up and speak?
clearly. I have my own podium at some point, but not now.
All right, let me see if I can communicate with Winfield, we are in the PaxLair event channel on Discord. Please join us there.
Oh, you want me to try to get into Discord?
Yes, sir. We're all meeting in here.
That'll be a challenge, I think.
Okay.
So tell me real quick. I thought the thing was later this evening. So
No.
yeah, I didn't notice that it was this morning. So I'm working on my speech.
All right. I'm gonna put mine, type mine in for the people that aren't in Discord right now.
Type what, your speech?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So everybody's in Discord. I
Great
can
idea.
try to get over there and get out of Zoom. I don't need to be in Zoom. I can
That's
kind of
fine.
be in one or the other.
Go over to Discord.
And I run Discord on my phone anyway. Believe it or not. So let me pull up Discord. My phone is dead. That doesn't help. So we'll have to use the iPad. Alright, let me get into Discord. Get out of here.
Sean is typing his speech into the game right now.
Everybody, Winfield here. Can you hear me all right?
Loud and clear.
Yes.
I hear you.
I'm still getting over a cold. It's been a week.
So far, I haven't coughed on air, so I'm doing good.
Sí. what, Lillian, please?
And we're tuned into the PaxLair 20th anniversary party as Sean Silverfoot is doing his speech in game, and everybody will resume here momentarily.
Okay, Nanak, you're up.
So what?
You have anything to say, Nanak? Not hearing you, buddy. Your mic is muted in Discord.
Yeah, I do, but I think I'm just going to type it up on the stage.
That's fine. That works.
I don't have anything prepared.
Well,
It's
read
okay.
what you've
Take
got
a couple
prepared
words.
because you guys are on live stream. People are going to be watching this and they're listening to a whole bunch of nothing right now if you guys ain't talking.
Okay.
Okay.
Remember, this
So-
is your party, guys. I'm just here to record it for you and try and point you all in the right direction.
Okay, so we're live on the channel, broadcasting.
This Discord channel is on your stream, not Avatar's Radio and not the in-game stuff. Got it.
Okay.
Gosh, I was afraid for a minute you guys were saying my mic was broken. I had a heart attack because I just gave a little stupid speech on air, and I was like, wait, what? Nobody can hear me? Ah! Okay.
I'll have a speech in about 10 minutes, getting the finalization on it.
Awesome.
I'll do in-game text version, and then I can voice it, kind of. Oh, I can only be on Discord or Zoom at the same time, one or the other.
All right, up on the stage, Nanak.
Just give me 1 minute, Sean. I'll be right back.
Hi everybody, how you doing? Duke Rhaegar here. It's been an honor to be involved with PaxLair through various different events and just hanging out with them, adventuring with them, and having fun. Happy 20th anniversary, PaxLair. You guys are great.
Thanks, Duke Rhaegar.
Huzzah!
Hip hip huzzah!
Huzzah!
Is there going to be a fishing contest today?
Oh, I don't know. I've already caught all the fish. There's no fish available.
Nice.
You've caught all the fish in Fishhook Lake, really?
Yeah, absolutely. Go over there now and check it out. I think there's none there.
That's nice.
Okay, now we
since-
got you on centered on in-game camera. And whenever you're ready.
Hello, everybody. This is Nanak.
I was just going to say, since nobody on air and nobody in the stream or anything can see the text in the Discord channel, Bella Bones says she's working, sends a bunch of crying faces and tears, and says, but she is here in spirit. So I just wanted to give that shout out for her. Sorry, otherwise known as Soul Stormland.
Oh, very cool.
Nice. I started playing UO early on in a guild called Army of the Dragon. We had a little town up in Aklo to start with, a little island, and some of our people found a spot on the mainland up above Vesper, and we started our town there. We always were at Aklo Bank and practicing our skills, and the game gods had to put a sign up eventually that said no summoning at the bank. Unfortunately, those signs have all disappeared. Our guild leader, John McBain, and Winfield got together and formed an alliance, Army of the Dragon being the first, and Dragon's Watch, the first city in the PaxLair Alliance back in 2003. I was asked to be an alderman in Dragon's Watch, the city, and I took the job on a temporary basis. And the rest is pretty much history. Winfield, in his wisdom, we colonnaded every shard in Ultima with a PaxLair guild so that we could be involved with the festivities and other events in other shards. We figured that, Winfield figured that by doing so, we would keep the game going. And it actually did start a lot of cross-shard events in the game. I started off as a small child in Aklo, running around with a couple of friends. I always say my mother was a seamstress and my father was an illiterate barbarian. Nanook is Conan spelled backwards. As time passed, as Sean said, we got together in real life. Probably thought it almost 8 years ago, 9 years ago, and we did a couple of Renaissance events, one in Michigan and one down in Maryland. In '07, late '07, Mystic started having gatherings, town halls at different cities, and the first one I went to was in Philadelphia because I lived near there. And the next year they had it town halls in Florida, Chicago, Virginia. On the West Coast, I'm not sure which city, and we're going to have it down in Austin, but there was a hurricane that year in '08, and they postponed it. So we've, over the years, met many, many times in real life because of our friendship and love of each other in the game. So in '07, Winfield was my best man, and when Phoenix and I got married in game in Magentia, and that was before Magentia was torn asunder by a cataclysmic war, which basically ruined all buildings on the island. Eventually it was rebuilt, but it isn't the same as it was. So getting married in the game in 2007, we finally tied the knot for real in last year at the 20th anniversary of UO. And Lord British was kind enough to marry us. And I think that's about all I have. I want to thank everybody for the last 20 years. It's been really great, and certainly a good way to pass some free time. Thank you, everybody.
So, how many
Thank
folks?
you, Nanak. How's nice words. You still have to type something in game.
Alrighty, I'll get to that.
Doing a great job, Vlad.
Where did Nanak type his words already?
I haven't yet. I just winged that. I didn't have it written down.
It's from the heart, you know.
We got so many ways to communicate. Where was Nanak talking?
I was talking on Zoom.
Discord.
Okay. Which channel on Discord?
The events
Discord,
channel.
buddy, Discord.
Your events channel.
Okay, all I see are some pictures in there.
He was talking in NBN.
Oh, NBNN channel. So I missed it all. So is he going to put that in game now? Vlad's talking, right?
Wasn't he
Vlad.
saying this in here? Then where was he saying it?
NBNN, I guess.
No, he's not on NBNN. I heard him.
Yeah, I heard him too.
Oh,
Cam, a couple of words?
he unmuted himself in Zoom is what he did. So, of course, everybody on air actually heard him. But nobody in the Discord room heard him. He unmuted his mic in the wrong place. That's okay. We got it on air, though.
Is Zoom being broadcast on air or this Discord?
Yes, we've got all of it.
Oh, both places are simulcast.
Yes. So when Nanak actually gave that speech on video, everybody heard it except for you guys in Discord. It got broadcast, so we got it. Don't worry about it.
My speech in text in the game, and then I'll voice it here in Discord. But I'm gonna do the game first, and then I'll voice it all at once because I can't voice and text at the same time. But I'll do the text in game first.
All right, when do you want to do that?
As soon as you want me to.
Sean, you gotta go in Discord, not in Zoom.
Yay, Cambria is up there.
Can't hear Sean in here.
Laz, you want me to repeat it on air?
Yeah, in here, go ahead now because
Okay.
I think
From Cambria Stromlin.
Yeah, okay, thank you. There you go.
I'm so grateful to be part of a great guild here as well as in the past in Ultima Online. After 20 years, Soda is much better for my eyes. So I have found my place here and have been away from Ultima Online. Love you all, our guild, and everyone I have enjoyed gaming with. Thank you all for your great friendships. I am out of words. Celebrate and have a great time. All from Cambria Stormlight.
Yay! Isn't Cambria here?
I'm here.
She's here. But she's kind of like me. You can't walk and chew gum, you know?
That's right. And I'm blushing sitting here in real life because I hate to speak.
I know. Yeah. Okay, Winfield, you're up in game.
Okay, you're right up.
Would you like me to read it as you type?
No, actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to type it in as fast as I can. It's copy paste, and then I want to do it in Discord. Maybe not be the 100% exact words, but a little more interactive with people in Discord. So you can hem and haw and huzzah and clap and say, and I can ad lib a little bit more in there during the verbal speech. So so you'll kind of see the drift of everything I'm going to say on stage, but then we'll have fun with talking about it too.
Old man Fisherman Winfield up on stage. Winfield is giving his speech in game here, and once he's done, he'll be live here on voice for everybody. Yay.
All right, very good. So I was able to get that texted out. How did that go? Did people be able to see that okay? And was it on the stream? People could read it? In an excellent position.
We got you covered.
Now, those I wanna read it and talk about it a little bit. So, who all here in the Discord can say huzzah?
Huzzah!
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 It was
Huzzah.
great.
Huzzah!
Oh, we can do better than that. All together now. Huzzah!
Huzzah!
Okay.
You guys have not learned the right way to huzzah. I'm sorry, I'm going to correct you. It goes like this. Hip hip, huzzah. One person does the hip hips, everybody does huzzah. Try that. See if that works for you, Winfield.
Hip hip.
Huzzah!
Hip hipper.
Huzzah!
Fish fish.
Huzzah!
I like the last one better. Fish fish.
Yeah, I think fish
Me
works
too.
better. That's right.
Huzzah.
Gotta make it your own.
So, if other people want to join us in here, we'll get a little foolish, but I want to go through the speech a little bit as well.
Okay, one quick question. Laz, have you received any donations yet? $20 total. It's a limited edition event. Yes.
Very good.
So So 20 total.
And you can give to Airy Fund anytime you want as well, not just for clothes.
Yeah. If we don't get them out today, we will continue doing that, Laz, until we get rid of all 20.
I don't see how you'll have a problem with that, but yes, 20 of them are available.
All right, let me run through my speech a little bit. So it's great to see everybody here today. I have a short speech for everyone. Hope you don't mind listening for a moment. Who doesn't mind listening? Say huzzah.
Fish.
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
All right. I am an old man and a fisherman, but I'm also the governor of PaxLair. So I'll tell you a little bit about PaxLair, the old PaxLair, and a bit about the new PaxLair. 20 years ago today, January 19th, 1998, a guild called the Band found an open meadow in Chesapeake in Altamont Line. The Band was a guild that started in 1996, pre-beta, that as soon as we learned that Ultima was going to go online, and we all formed together early in those days. All right, so this old Britannian guild had its members build houses in a land that we found was an open area. It was a meadow. We put up a saloon and a forge because we needed a place to drink. We needed a place to work on our equipment. So that's the first priorities, of course. In this new Britannia here in Shroud of the Avatar, we've kind of done that over the last couple of years, kind of coming in as settlers. So we're kind of used to the settler stage of things, and we're still going through that as we build up more in Shroud of the Avatar in the PaxLair city area. Obviously, things are not like they were a year ago, and things are really moving well, so appreciate that. In Old Britannia, let's see here. In Old Britannia, many friends and enemies heard about our little encampment back in 1998, back in January, February. More people started to come into the area. A lot of them came there to kind of work with us and see what was going on, and a lot more people came there to kill us. The illustrious, murderous Reds were, sailing on us every day. So we became a hotspot of just a defense-offensive place. Became a point target for people to have fun combating each other. They knew where people were going to be, so we were attacked daily. And then more people came to defend us daily. And that's how PaxLair kind of started in that settler day, out of a purpose of survival and trying to stake an ownership or a place that we could call home. And it was fun, but it was tough. So we had to have a lot of strength, but then we also had diplomacy. How do we get that guild to not kill us every day? So we did become diplomats over the years, and we learned a lot about how to deal with different guilds and different attitudes. So we had more than 300 people involved in those early days. That seems like quite a few. Well, that's when we combine up all the alliance guilds that we had at the time over that first year. There was a lot of people coming and going, and a lot of house swapping, and even the Reds were participating a lot with us, but didn't necessarily live there, because if they lived there, we'd probably kill them off, most of them anyway.
Huzzah!
Huzzah! We did have Reds guilds, so we treated people neutrally as much as we possibly could. You come in and sit down with us as a Red, and we've never seen you before, and you're not immediately attacking us, we will have a 2-hour drink with you, or we'll go spar in the arena, and then we go away as friends, and that was our nature. So we became, so since we had such a hot spot there was no name for the location. So Thelorn was the band leader, of this band that's formed in 1996. Decided, we thought of different names, and he decided, why don't we make it a peace place, PaxLair? And we're like, yeah, that's perfect. So Thelorn is credited with coming up with that name. And then we quickly became a place that was well known. We created websites and all that stuff because we had a name now. As long as people came in peace, everything was pretty balanced, and people didn't kill each other every day. But notice that PaxLair, and I emphasize this in the text speech, PaxLair is not a guild. It never has been a guild. The guild was the band. The PaxLair was the city that many people joined. And then we had to have government officials in the city that came from multiple guilds. So we formed this mechanical guild called PaxLair. And that's even what we have here. We have multiple guilds in PaxLair, but only one is called PaxLair and has very few people in it. Like me, I'm just a government official. So PaxLair itself is not a guild. It's all the other guilds around us that make up PaxLair. And the residents and people from the city and the cities. So we became a statehood after a while with more guilds and more alliances, statehood of towns, because more towns wanted to work with us. We're like, well, we'll just kind of form this government to kind of help. And that's when Mayor Winfield became Governor Winfield. And we had multiple mayors throughout all the cities. Our success early on was drew the attention of Lord British. So in November 1998, he physically came there, and this was a time when Lord British in the realm was a bit of a rare sighting, even though he was there more than he is here, or there. He's here more than he was there, so he's pretty much a rare sighting. And we had a founders event that evening that we had no idea anyone else was coming other than, PaxLair people from all our guilds, all our alliance. We had about 70 people piled up on top of the Mage Tower, one of our twin towers there. And then all of a sudden, outside pops up this name just out of the blue, and it said Lord British. And we're like, holy crap, is that really him? And being in Felucca, you couldn't push past people. So there was no way he was going to be able to get up to the roof through 70 people. And so all of a sudden you saw him kind of go vertical straight up the outside of the tower and then teleport himself basically right into the middle of our crowd on the Mage Tower roof. We've got photographs of that. That was a great time. We didn't know he was coming, and he found out about us, and we appreciate his being aware of things going on in Old Britannia at those days. So we put a plaque on our Mage Tower door. If you ever want to go, if you have an Ultima Online account, get to Chesapeake. We'll help you there. You can see the plaque. It's still there. It's been there for almost 20 years now. All right, so over the years, we grew to connect to all these additional towns. We became a statehood, as we enter the 2000 era. And also Trammell opened up, so a lot of people fled Felucca. And so we had to build towns in Trammell and Ticuno. So we ended up having a bunch of towns associated with our culture, with our community. We had PaxLair City, the original Dragon's Watch, Port Baldmore, Nidaros, Pax Lane, which were a bunch of Spaniards came in, and Sibelius is here in Shroud of the Avatar as well. So he's one of the plank holders of the band, along with me, that have been around for nearly a century. Well, 20 years. Pax Oku, Pitmuck, Gildenfeld, Erislan, and Cassandriel. And there's a number of others that we always worked with. So not all of those cities have survived to this day in Old Britannia. A few of them are still there. A few of them come back. What's interesting is their locations are still there. And some of their monuments are still there in the game. So some people come back and say, I remember that old town, I'm going to revive it. And they do. And we see that with a couple of towns going on now in Old Britannia and UL on Chesapeake. So 20 years is a long time to keep anything going. It's not a result of me or Sean or Nanoc or Phoenix. It's not any one or two or three or four people. It's a whole bunch of people kind of embracing the ideas of this kind of community and then just going for it, how they want to adapt it, use it, be part of it, leave it, come back to it. That's why this PaxLair is always refreshing itself in some way, shape, or form. So we inspire, always respect, camaraderie, compassion, fun, and a sense of worthiness. We're not really competitive, although some people can. This is multiple guilds, can be very competitive in different ways, But as an overall nature, we're very neutral to a lot of things. Just let everybody, associate the way they want to, as long as they're peaceful and respectful to the people around here. And obviously, we are true friends inside and outside the realm. Shining example is a couple of things. One not so shiny, but one very shiny. We've grieved together, and when we lost our good friend Ozog Giant Fart. Ozog was in the game in UO playing that, I believe it was a Sunday evening, and a couple hours later he passed away in his bedroom or in his chair, and he would check in every morning on the Stratix forum, say hi to everybody, and he didn't check in the next morning. So obviously we started calling around. We called his family, and they did find out later that day that he did pass away that evening. So it's a bit of a tough story. Him so closely connected to PaxLair, to Pitmuck, and to us through this gaming world that he was part of us in his last day there. But Pitmuck, which is a town, which is also part of PaxLair here, a bunch of goblins that are a bit crazy. They'll pee on you if you're in their way. All kinds of crazy stuff like that. So say huzzah to the Pitmuck folks.
Huzzah!
Huzzah. Say pee on the goblins.
Pee on the
Pee on
goblins.
a
Pee on the
goblin.
goblins.
Hey on the goblins.
Nicely.
So that is the kind of attitude Ozog brought to us, and that's the kind of attitude that we continue to have the fun nature, even though we go through some bad times. We call that the Pitmuck effect, or we coined that yesterday. But the Pitmuck effect is relax, have fun, and go pee on your neighbor. No, that's not part of it. All right, so everybody cheers. Raise a mug to Ozog. Cheers, Ozog, in the game or wherever.
Huzzah, Ozog.
Huzzah.
Huzzah, Ozog.
Huzzah!
Long live the Pitmuck effect.
And it has amazingly worked its way over to Soda also in the new Pitmuck.
It has indeed. They have arrived. Then also, close to home, we had another event, more joyous. We went to the Ultima Online 20th anniversary event. A whole bunch of us went there that are actually in this room and in this town today. A lot of us met each other there. And we rejoiced seeing and participating with Nanook and Phoenix as they were legally married in real life by His Majesty Lord British Richard Garriott himself. So huzzah, huzzah, huzzah.
Huzzah.
Huzzah!
I know, it was a fantastic. There's videos of that up on YouTube. It's very easy to find. Just do UO wedding Nanook and Phoenix, and it'll come right up. And there's a couple of videos online if you want to watch that. So our lives here have continued. So that's kind of our PaxLair effect. Everybody in game, out of game, working together. So we kind of coined that as not that everybody has to get married. That's not the PaxLair effect. You're not going to lead to weddings every day. But PaxLair effect, people working together very respectfully and having a great time. So our lives do continue here in Shroud of the Avatar past the 20-year mark with a lot of strength and spirit. The PaxLair in the Old Britannia continues to exist to this day, will continue for as long as those servers remain alive. So we're talking 20 more plus years over there, where they adventure, they meet new people, and they remain a basis for what we do here. Our culture started there, it continues into here, and we're setting up, obviously, we're setting up storylines. We'll find some rare books that we've created, or will create, that connect our two communities, even though we're 200, 300 years apart. in the history cycle. So we may go back in time to go to PaxLair Ultima Online and witness an event that we find a book about here that says, oh, 200 years ago this happened in Old Britannia. Then we go back and we actually participate in that event. But it's a new event over there. So we can do a little time travel between both locations. Is kind of what we may be suggesting.
Very cool.
So PaxLair here in New Britannia is emerging along a new path as well. We have new experiences, new capabilities, new friends, new environment, new challenges, new story. So we're going to embrace all of that as much as we can with anybody who wants to participate with us, or we participate with them. We entered New Britannia as a very small town called Valemark several years ago. So does anybody remember Valemark? Say huzzah!
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 All right, not many people remember. But we were over there in Valemark on the Isle. And now we have a large town here as of release 17. And it's a metropolis. And we've got a whole bunch of towns connected to us in kind of the PaxLair statehood fashion. You know, PaxLair not being a guild, not being one town, it's a community of towns. So we carry on what we've learned from Old Britannia, trying to bring that piece of it into New Britannia as well. Peace, neutrality, role-playing continue to be our tenets. And many years ago, we learned that respect is our number one rule. When we got into a lot of the diplomacy stuff in Ultima Online between guilds, so we could continue to have fun without getting, cremated every day, we determined that as long as we could find even the PK guilds and the Red guilds and the NPK guilds to respect how people wanted to play a bit better, that was the number one rule for participating in PaxLair. And those that did actually had a lot of fun. So we'll continue that kind of thing here as well. So I can assure you that we bring, as I've suggested, many of our values from Old Britannia with us here into New Britannia. Peace, neutrality, role-playing, respect, and we're celebrating 20 years of those values today, not just the existence of PaxLair unto itself. We're the 20 years of those values that we bring along today. So that is my speech, and if you would like to ask me any questions, I'm open to questions. And huzzahs!
Huzzah!
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 Fish. So any thoughts, any reaction before we turn over to looks like Ezekiel wants to say a few words.
Thanks for the history lesson. It really it's really fascinating and kind of sheds a lot more light on what we got going on here. It makes me feel like being part of an even bigger thing than I thought we were already part of.
No, I appreciate that. There's a lot of things we want to share. It's not something we just want to write down in books. It's stuff we want to talk about like this. And with obviously modern communications and events or just hanging out on a Sunday, we could talk about a lot of this stuff. I think it's fun.
Winfield, I'm going to interrupt as Ezekiel is just going to do it in game, so I will read his speech into the record here.
All right,
just giving him the PaxLair info, so maybe we can get him in here in voice. Hang on a second.
Yeah, he could do the voice thing like I just did. Oh, he's already started. So, Sean, you can probably read it.
Okay, from Ezekiel Cooper, head of BMC. On this momentous occasion, let me first say that maintaining a guild for 2 decades is an awesome achievement. Winfield, you're to be congratulated. Although we're not a guild.
People will learn.
A guild, a community, they're both tough.
True. Very true.
Keeping anything together for 20 years these days is an achievement.
Not only for his leadership, but his ability to seek out and find capable officers of PaxLair.
Yay!
I don't know if this went through. He said, who are also congratulated for their efforts. Sean Silverfoot, a very capable officer indeed. Nanak as well. All these players have attained the pinnacle of respect from this guild because they have the fortitude to traverse into the future in the name of PaxLair. A beautiful organization that strives to help their fellow players. Congratulations to you all, and long live PaxLair.
Huzzah! Huzzah.
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
Nicely said.
Indeed. Now, Sean, for those of you interested, I put a link in the Discord here just a few moments ago. It's got a link to the Virtue Marathon Children's Miracle Hospital Network donate link. And, of course, you can also just look at that and track the donations that were given today by looking at who's donated. So far we have Grifter, we have Engineer, we have Thexidor Markham, and Dinsu. So far donating to today's cause to get one of those spiffy PaxLair 20th anniversary cloaks. That leaves a total of 16 left.
Well, that's excellent. Hope we can get all those sold off so we can give a big lump of money to Dairy Fund.
Well, again, you can click on the link and see what the donation goal for that is and who is donated. And
yeah, Xandor in game had said that he got an error from the website when he tried. So I told him to see Thexidor, who's here.
yes, working on that now, but you can click on the link I gave you, and that'll bring you directly where you need to go. That's why I put the link in there. And again, you can track the donations. You can actually physically see the donations yourself there, so you're not going to need me to sit here and check my emails every 5 minutes. We can all see it.
Thank you, sir.
I just did a shout out reminding people that that is an option on Avatar's Radio as well.
Great.
So, Brazen, you're DJing?
Thank you, Brazen.
Yes, sir.
Excellent. And how many Fish songs have you played so far?
One.
I heard, who was the introing that one?
However, nobody suggested fish songs. It didn't even occur to me. I've just been doing. I literally got up at 8:30 with Amber's computer broken down and threw together an oldie set. It was frantic.
Yeah, so Amber had everything prepped, but her hard drive burned last night.
Right, exactly.
Oh, sorry. So who on my staff
I'm hunting.
Give you fish songs to play? I will send them into a boat without any worms.
What? That's cruel. That's cruel.
Oh,
You would kill me.
Well, Winfield, for the 20th anniversary, don't you think you should lead the crowd in the fish song?
Fish song?
Ah, yes, in game.
Nice. There we go. I did, however, by the way, play the very old liner, which I can play again if you'd like to hear it, when they announced that fishing was coming into the game.
Oh, yeah, I heard that one earlier. That was good.
Yeah.
Royal Sexy, I think, was on in that, maybe.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's Royal Sexy or if it's Wolfdom. I couldn't tell.
Yeah, all Australian.
Right? I'm sure they're like all those damned Americans.
I can tell you it was Royal Sexy because Wolfdom's no longer with you guys.
At R12?
Oh, R12.
Or
oh,
no,
geez,
R22. R22. I'm sorry. So yeah, maybe
on the radio today. I was like, that didn't happen today. Yes.
It did dig into the archive report.
Back then, oh geez, yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, I think he was still with us then. I mean, I could be wrong, but we do have old stuff archived. And I was digging hard.
I missed the word archive.
Yeah, I was digging hard for old things that would be Blast from the Past for PaxLair for this event. And I was doing it so fast and so furious, it was kind of ridiculous. But hey, I do what I do, even though I'm sick as a dog with bronchitis. Yay! I haven't coughed on air yet.
So it's a mute button for.
Sorry?
That's what the mute button's for.
Right?
Well, we thank you for stepping up, Grayson. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, I really do.
Of course. You guys know you're my family. Duh.
Duh.
And
Family.
Of course, the mistress of chaos out there. Gotta send her our
Absolutely.
best. And I feel for her. I mean, everything that goes on, and then of course she plans to be at these events, and her computer takes a crap on her. So big shout out to her.
Right.
So,
Absolute shout out to her.
I
We
was
miss
under the
her.
understanding that the Church of the Dark Star was going to follow this event today, according to the postings. I don't know what the story is with that, or that happened already today.
There was going to be a Church of the Dark Star, but again, her computer croaked, so she can't do anything.
Since this is our 20th year, that sermon will go on a different Saturday and still pertain to our 20th anniversary, which we still will be doing a couple of other things, a couple of meetups, some live events, that kind of stuff.
So. Oh, nice.
Very good indeed.
Yeah, we're all going to travel to Sean's place in New York State.
It's okay.
No.
If you're from Texas, just don't bring your guns, man. Automatic 3 years.
I know. And then we're going to wait until it warms up a little bit.
Yeah.
We just thawed out.
What do you call thawing out?
Well, in Houston, we don't get snow. In fact, 3 snowflakes gets the roads shut down. And we actually got I guess about an inch of frozen slushy ice crap. And it took 4 days to thaw it all up.
That's worse than snow anytime. Even ice storms up here totally suck. Snow is
and
much better.
these idiots cannot drive in this at all in any way.
They have no infrastructure to deal with it, so everything just closes.
Right.
That's what we did. We closed everything Monday.
Yeah, everything closed up, and I was out driving because even if I'm sick with bronchitis, I'm also the only Yankee with some experience driving on icy roads. So
we have that same sickness down here in Florida, except it's called rain. And every time it drizzles, everybody from all 50 states apparently forgets how to drive down here. I don't know. So.
Yeah, that happens here too. But snow is so much worse. Literally, I was driving my son to work because he works security, so he wasn't going to not be able to go in. And I was the only one with experience driving on ice, so I'm driving him to work, and there was literally cars on the curbs and the medians all over the place. And it's like, seriously, I'm driving on this. I'm not sliding. What is with you people?
Oh man, when I lived in Seattle, they got snow one year, like an eighth of an inch, and the Magnolia area is really hilly. There was a Mini Cooper parked on top of a hedge, like 4 feet in the air.
Nice.
The hedge just held it fine.
These people, I don't even understand how they go sliding like that. I just don't, but they do.
Well,
on the other
if
hand,
you guys ever get tired of being cold, we should have a reunion down here. It's 85 degrees right now. In August, it'll be 85 degrees.
Nice.
Where is here?
Costa Rica.
Oh, yes. So. I thought we had it good here in Florida, but yes, no. And you can live down there for a king for like $300 a month, can't you? Something like that.
Well, Costa Rica is a little more expensive than the surrounding countries, but we got great internet and electricity is stable, drinkable water, and it's really like a relaxed environment.
But how's the microbrew situation down there?
Well, if anybody wanted to come down and start their brewery, they'd have a good opportunity.
All right, very good. Clean water, that's all it takes.
Right.
So speaking of microbreweries, when are we going to get brewing in Shroud? We're ready to have some breweries open up, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, we're long since ready.
What's going on, guys?
There he is. There's the Duke. We got him in here for everybody.
Better late than never.
So we can get some breweries going, then we get some real branded, stuff going around between the towns and everything, and come on distillery tours. I can just see it now, and sampling days. Really looking forward to those days.
Ezekiel, I really appreciated your speech. Very well said. Thank you.
Oh man, it's my pleasure. My pleasure. It's a good guild. Always has been.
Yeah, appreciate the speech, Zeke. Good stuff. Thank you.
PaxLair is a community.
Minor interruption. Winfield, the liner that's coming up in about 30 seconds, you might want to peek in and listen.
On Avatar's radio, I got it on. Excellent.
So back to this brewery thing. You know, I was wondering, we've already got the greenhouses. I wonder when they're going to put the wacky tobacco in the game. That's what I want to know.
It's only $4 in Speed Tree store.
Hey, Speed Trees gave it away about 2 years ago, and we told them about it. We believe they downloaded it. We just don't know if they're ever going to implement it, because they gave it away last April 20th.
Right, they did.
It's there. It's available. And yes, the download is very cheap. I'll be more than happy to purchase it for Portalarium if they'll put it in.
It's still only $4.20.
That's what I'm saying. I'll be more than happy to purchase it for them and put it, so if they'll put it in. But, I'll be more than happy to make that donation for my fellow gamers.
As long as I can rename it Scarlet Tobacco, I'm in.
Well, you should be able to cultivate your own strains, right? Just like we will be able to make our own brews and name them. I'm hoping, when we get into really brewing, I'm hoping we'll be able to cultivate different types of hops, and make things regional with the different regions. The mountains may be better for growing wine than it is in the plains. You'll be better for your hops and your grains. I don't know. We got to have them figure all that good stuff out.
I would love that. Absolutely.
So jumping in real quick, thanks, Brazen. That R17 promo thing you did there for PaxLair going live is actually, I'm thinking about what you guys put into that news spot versus what I talked about tonight. It's spot on, 2 years later or whatever it is, about how old PaxLair was destroyed in the Cataclysm, which is our history, which is history still going on in a time warp over in UO. And then here, we're survivors and settlers and trying to set up, but we got the same culture to set up our cities and cities again. And I'm amazed how much we were able to really understand what PaxLair was back then, coming out of the post-Veilmark thing, and today. So, wow, thank you. That was good.
I thought you'd like that.
That was the, let's go to PaxLair, R17. PaxLair has come into the realm. That was a good ad.
Yeah, it was awesome. That's why I was like, yeah, you might want to have your ears peeled just for a sec.
So that's one thing I brought up in my speech is the time warp. We can now go back and forth. We can read about, historical things here of old PaxLair, and it might be a historical book of something that's happening next week in UO. Because that's, in the past. We can time warp ourselves back and kind of see what the event actually participate in an event that we kind of wrote a curious book about here in Shroud. I think a great library section of kind of this almost this time travel section on the bookcase of things where we do that.
And Nanak is currently working on translating a lot of books over from UO in Minnesota that will be found, I guess, at some point.
Yeah, I have backup copies. So we had over 1,000, I think, player books, but then that house decayed.
Yeah,
but
you want to tell us a little bit about the translations?
Well, basically what we're doing is, or what Nanak has started to do, is to translate some of the books that we have in PaxLair UO, historical documents, and bringing them and putting them into soda books. We believe down the line what we would like to do is make that into an event where we uncover, a chest full of old books and documents, maybe buried down in Dragon's Watch or PvP dungeon area, and kind of RP it from there.
Very cool.
Yeah, in fact, we were in UO last night for our 20th anniversary at our Necromancer Tower, which is the sister tower to the Mage Tower, and we found all those old pumpkins that are probably 10 to 15 years old, with all the names of all the players that were in and around PaxLair in those days. And seeing some of those old names, it's like, hey, we can probably find those people again. There's some still around.
Yeah, a couple showed up last night. I haven't seen Leo in a long time. Neo.
Yep, Neo's still there. He still owns property. Gak is still somewhere. I've tried to call him. Phone changed. But we have to reach out to him. There must be an email we have for him somewhere. Gak Hukt is still the mayor of PaxLair City in Ultima Online, and he's an orc. I don't think we've ever replaced him.
No, I don't think so. You went to governor, and he became mayor.
Yeah, that kind of, role-playing wise ticked off a bunch of people. How can an orc be in charge of humans?
Oh, yeah, that was fun. And even being with the Titma crowd again last night. Awesome RP. Awesome.
Yeah, and then there's a character over there, Neva, who is a savage, and she specifically wears items that make her completely look like a savage, and she's very good in the field for combat too, even with the limited amount of gear that she wears, and she never breaks character.
Never, ever.
And just a quick update, the Area Fund website is back up, but again, you can use that direct link.
Yay.
I'll give you a link to the Area Fund as well.
So those other folks in voice channel here, tell us, give us a little ideas or feedback on what you like about PaxLair, or where you want us to go, or whatever. Tell us just a little bit about what you think, or what you want to know more about, or whatever.
Well, I typed it in the speech that I made up off the top of my head. But basically, PaxLair was really our introduction to Shroud. And neither Viola nor I played Ultima Online. And it was very welcoming. Sean's always been there helping us out on things and kind of moving us all the way up. Now I've got the Factorium down by Resolute, and a lot of that is thanks to you guys in one way or another. We've had different houses in PaxLair, and then like one thing I was really super thankful for was to have the Fortitudo, if I'm saying that right, there to pick up our friend Light Tiger because adventurers need other adventurers, and Viola and I are more crafters. So he went off with fortitude and just like took off and shot way past us, and in the adventuring side. So now we go out with him sometimes, and he carries us along, even though we've been playing for like a year and a half longer. So that was really nice. So the welcoming atmosphere, and then all of a sudden the goblins were there, and that was welcoming. It's always so welcoming. Love it.
You bring up a good point, and that's one thing we've always fostered is there's multiple guilds, and there could be a crafters guild, a warriors guild, there could be a pub guild, a brewmasters guild or whatever. In my mind, the guilds in this kind of community, in PaxLair community, are more guilds of craft or like interest. It's not a governing body, and that's why PaxLair is not really a governing body. It's it not even being a guild. It's just the city stuff. So being able to maneuver between those interests and hang out with others from different guilds, when you want to go with them, is exactly the kind of community spirit that the kind of culture we have here. That's why also a lot of people can come in and live here and declare themselves part of PaxLair, because there's only, with the guild tag PaxLair, as I mentioned earlier, there's only a couple of people in it. In fact, if I look on my guild roster right now, I am the only active guild member on our roster of 15 people in what might be called the PaxLair Guild, which means all these other guilds are PaxLair, or all these other people living in the town are PaxLair, or someone owning a business from a guild outside of PaxLair, they're part of PaxLair.
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
Well, we're happy to be here.
Now, we tried to do some things regionally as well early in the testing before the final wipe was, kind of regional markets and commerce. And, back before Brittany was built up, but that's where we worked with, the Vengeance community, their communities, and all here in the desert area. But, look at, the joint markets that have now formed with New Britannia Market, and Minerva's got a town over there that runs a big market. It's just interesting how regionally we are still involved. Although, me personally, I don't go to much place farther than Brittany for the most part to do much. I pretty much just hang around this region. What do you guys do?
Well, we just started the S-Mark Factorium over by Resolute, and my plan for that is to take new player in particular, but veterans have been showing up at a higher rate and wanting to participate, so I give in and they get to. Get them the opportunity to craft on my resources. So they'll mill the wood, get the XP, and then sell it back to me, or whatever format I'm experimenting with at the day. And then I'll use that to make the furniture. And what I'm hoping to do is have a wholesale store there. So if anybody wants to be a reseller, they can come by and get it at it's still going to be a little bit of a markup over cost, but they can pick it up and then take it to their store at some other part of Novia and resell it and make a profit. And it'll have been like a different gatherer picked up the stuff, brought it and sold the wood to me. Then another crafter, hopefully a new player a bunch of the times, did the processing of the goods. And then I took those goods and maybe even some veterans, because we have done some big loads of finished goods for with veterans doing the processing. They finish the stuff, then we sell it there, then it goes out to a reseller, and winds up in somebody's home in a whole nother place, and so we get this whole cycle going.
I think that's great. There's no capability right now to put a maker's mark on your stuff, right?
Some of them show up on it, actually, like the antique furniture does. Other furniture doesn't. And the problem with the maker's mark is that then it's really hard to sell a full set of stuff. But who made it, right? You also got the gatherer, the first processor, the second processor, and then the wholesaler in this case, and then the finished or the retailer.
And the item is marked with the name of the person who actually crafted the finished item, right?
Some of them yes, some of them no. I prefer the ones that don't because I can stack them in the vendor and say buy 4 chairs as a set.
Gentlemen, I'm going to cut in real quick here. I'm just conferring with Dex over the Area Fund. And just a reminder for those of you donating for those rare PaxLair cloaks today, there are 7 out of the 20 already gone. And anybody who is getting those cloaks today will receive 2 cloaks, of course, not just the PaxLair one, but they will also receive the charity run cloak. So there's 7 of the 20 PaxLair already gone. That means there's 13 left, and if you can get in on that, you will get 2 cloaks, not just 1. So I just wanted to let you folks know that out there. Those of you who donated during the stream are going to be getting not just the 1 cloak for the PaxLair, but you're going to get the charity cloak as well for donating the $25.
Let me make one correction, Laz. It's actually 6 gone. I do not count.
You're not counted there.
I am not counted there. That was, remember, we were just testing the...
Correct. There are 7 gone, not counting your donation. May want to refresh your page.
Right. So there's 14 available. And
no, there's 7.
They will continue
sold.
to be available. You guys will keep selling those until we run out.
Right. What I'm telling you is there's 7 already been sold on today.
Oh, okay. I need to update that on the count.
That's what I'm telling you. Let me just verify that. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 7 donations already, leaving 13 more left.
Alrighty.
I'll let y'all continue on there.
That was a great PSA. PSA is once per square.
That's right. If you haven't donated already, of course, again, during this stream, you're going to get the special cloak for the 20th anniversary party. And, of course, you're going to help support the Children's Miracle Hospital Networks and the Virtue Team Avatar.
Yay, fish.
Fish.
Huzzah, fish.
I'm going to go ahead and just throw this up on screen for them so they can see what we're talking about.
So, Sean, I haven't been here a lot because, I run around fishing everywhere. How busy, and Cambria may know more, how busy is PaxLair down here, kind of during the week? And are we running any... I know we have regularly scheduled meetings. We don't really honor them all the time. So what's kind of our throughput here during the week, do you think?
I think it's pretty slow during the week.
Yeah.
Really see a lot of people on.
And I also think this is, personally, I think it's a little bit different of a game too. We get people in houses, in town, even on weekends, back and forth. But most people are out, skilling and killing, as I say, and not hanging around a lot. It's usually we will get them in town when we run events. Everybody shows up, that kind of stuff. So once we get past launch and we're a little bit more involved in that, maybe we can do some more stuff that brings people into town. But I don't know. I want to talk to other town owners and see how they're doing and see if my train of thought is correct on this. But I think this game keeps people elsewhere right now. There's other things to do rather than just hang out town. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I kind of look back at how West Britain Bank was used as the hangout spot, now Luna in UO. So those people that hung out in West Britain Bank or Luna were probably, not out, gaining skill and crafting and doing a whole lot of stuff. They were, looking for their guildmates or their idol, while they were watching TV or whatever. So is there anything here that we see will become the West Britain Bank, either in our towns or in Novia?
I haven't yet. I think everyone's busy skilling and fighting and killing.
Yeah, there's so much new too coming into the game, and new cloaks to get, new of the virtue outfits to get those pieces. Checking out the new scenes that have been done. So it's still a building situation. I think we possibly may see more of that as people have progressed through E1, made the levels they want to maintain and got what they want, and then maybe we'll see more of that. I think when E2 comes out, that we'll go back to seeing people exploring more than just hanging in town. Yeah, that's what I think so far.
Okay, and one thing I don't know if it's rightly observed or not, but back in UO days, we didn't have as many ways to communicate. We had IRC, we had ICQ, or the two primary things, and those were set up between guilds and friends and all that. We had to be on a friends list. But then if you wanted to go find an adventure, you'd go to Luna or East Britain or West Britain Bank and go, "Hey, I'm going on an adventure. Who wants to go?" And then idle people would go because we didn't have a large like Discord channel for everybody in the realm to hang out and sit in and say, "Hey, who wants to go?" So you had to physically be in the game.
Exactly.
Find people and connect.
While they are great tools that have helped us with the technology, but I think at a cost also, just like in real life,
So if I were working from home, real life, and doing my office stuff, and I have multiple computers, I could probably just hang out in PaxLair in my office. I'm always online. If people want to come talk to me, they could. Of course, I could just not do that and just be in Discord, and anyone could always reach me and private message me and voice me too. So I'm personally kind of looking for ways that, if you want to go find Winfield and talk about, hey, some treaties or something you want to do with the PaxLair world, meet me in game at my office kind of thing. That's what we used in Feluca all the time. We had people lined up to come in and talk to us, talk to our council and stuff.
Well, we did have a similar situation when we were first putting the player towns together, and PaxLair was basically the go-to place to find that information because we had the first template going in. So we would have that Saturday meetings that were sold out, for lack of a better word. Same thing with my meeting on Tuesday. People would come to get all that information because in-game was where you were getting the information. And now you have so many different ways to communicate here that, and a faster way to communicate. I'd rather actually speak than type. I think that absolutely has an effect.
So even, back in early releases, even before fishing came out in R22, we were going on fishing trips, and those became social evenings where we did discuss what was going on all over Novia, or all over that time before Novia came into existence. We were able to talk while we were just hanging out on a beach somewhere, kind of weekly.
Because there was just the sort of form, and that wasn't that instant kind of communication that you can now do in Discord, when either voice or text.
And that was pre-Discord too, I think, when all that
was.
Okay. So rapid communication may have distanced us to physically be together or virtually be together. So the place to hang out is to get to know those communications channels with text and voice, and then try to follow it up with being in game somewhere.
Ezekiel, Laz, what do you guys feel about that?
As to, I'm sorry, I was half listening and multitasking doing this. Just the communications?
Well, communications versus the early days where we didn't use Discord and we just had the SOTA forums. So if you had a town meeting or a guild meeting, you did it in game. Now everybody kind of uses more voice and that. How has that affected the people being in town, more often than not?
Oh, well, I tell you truthfully, and everything that I've been seeing from people coming, and of course I get the gamut of people of, or should I say, cross section. And people coming in, go, well, where does everybody gather? Like the bank. Everybody used to gather at the bank in UO. And of course, I got to sort of explain the fact that with that advent, again, is when I created NBNN, trying to find a community, get a community voice going and just have a place where people can congregate and talk. Same thing here in your PaxLair. While you have many channels, most people don't come in here and voice and communicate. They still revert to text. Same thing in the Shroud of the Avatar. They still revert to the text, and I don't understand why. So what I do understand, though, and my point to this is with the advent of so many different choices, everybody and their brother can now open a Discord server and have their own chat channel, so they don't need a universal in-game chat channel. And all these little groups now break off into their own little chats, and they're not using the game. They're using a third-party connection to do that. So there is no need to get into the game and sit in one place to find out that information. It's scattered everywhere. I think it really hurts when it comes to community. Like here in the game now. Now I've taken to, of course, I do the old standby. You guys know what we do. Jack and I, we sit on a lot 5, 6, 7 days a week. That's all we do is sit on a lot. Hoping that people will come and congregate and chat and ask for help because they know we're there. With the new 24/7 free to try, free to play system, I've been now going out to places like Resolute, and I sit at the gate at Resolute, or I sit at the my inn in Sultan, places where I know that the players are going to be popping up, where I can congregate and help people and give them guidance and give them pointers and answer questions when they're going, dude, where do I find this, or so and so gave me that and I have no idea, or I got here and I have no idea how I got here. I'm supposed to be going the other way. And we can go, hey, you got to go that way. But, many people seem to miss that. I don't know if he's still here listening.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that we've got a immersive, world that we can live in. Yet we only really partially live in it when we're in the community or socializing. It's just a bunch of props almost, and I think it'll take a few years for it to grow into that it's more than just props. It's actually, you get stuff done in game. You want to meet in game. You want to socialize in game. You want to hang out at the pub because maybe you're that's where your drinking buds are, and you have immediate voice contact with them like Second Life would do, because you had to be in Second Life to have that face-to-face voice contact as well.
Yeah,
That's
we're
exciting.
hoping for that
I
here
love
in the
that.
game.
Yeah. So
The Bear
that's
Tavern had a great idea. Those guys, had a bartender 24/7 back when we first started. But of course, I think they realized they need to wait until when we hit actual launch to have a bartender 24/7 out in the Bear Tavern. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, agreed. And there's going to be different kinds of people. There's people who don't want to do all the social media, the social voice channels, be on Discord and all that. They'd rather go to town. So there's going to be a mix. So if those of us who want to promote our towns, our location, the place you hang out at NBNN studio there, Laz, I'd say continue doing that, plus stay connected, obviously, to all the other mediums for now.
I've had
I'm just going to continue the, hang out in the, major points of interest, and hopefully as the word gets out and Black Sun starts their promotion and Trivian does their thing and we hit our stride on launch, I'm expecting an influx, and I'm expecting people to start doing a little bit more of that. So
yeah, I've actually been a little surprised. Resolute's since I got over there, been seeing people in there regularly, and the public vendor's been filling up. So I've been trying, and people even popping into the factory. So I get a chance to just essentially give them a quick tutorial. A lot of times they need a tutorial. Like, you can even tell they're jumping in front of you but not saying anything, means they haven't figured out to hit enter to talk yet.
And 10 of those cloaks are now sold, and there are only 10 remaining for the PaxLair party. Remember, those PaxLair cloaks are limited to 20 donations. And there are only 10 slots left, so if you're looking to donate, you're not going to get one, you're going to get 2 cloaks today. One for supporting the Children's Miracle Hospital Network, and one for hanging out and supporting PaxLair's 20th anniversary party here inside Shroud of the Avatar.
Winfield, so I've kept 6 cloaks in reserve for any errors we may make. So down the line, we might be able to, if we don't need them, turn them over to the ARI Fund too.
Sure. Because we don't have the exact number of cloaks yet, right?
Right now, I'm using the 80 count.
Okay.
Another thing I think will draw people back to the towns is more interactivity, like person to person. Because right now we've got our most interactive times are the parties of some sort or an event that then turns into a dance party. For instance, there was the play, The Green Rogue, not long ago, and immediately afterwards it became a party. There was fireworks and everything, because that's the way that we can interact with each other the most easily right now. But when things like the chess and checkerboard can be used by both players without it being a danger to the owner of the pieces being left, and so you can just walk in, sit down, and play a game without having to worry about permissions at all, then we're going to start having like smaller things that you can do with just one other person if you see them at the bar here in town or whatever. And because right now combat's the most interactive, and then the next thing is dance parties. So those are the things we have the 2 most of. As the other stuff fills out, we'll start to come back in and do these other things together in towns.
No, I think that's perfect. The things that you can come in and do, the additional mechanics that need to go in this game that allow people to have small and large community engagement and involvement in the game still needs to be added. Eventually down the road, if they have the Second Life voice capability that they had in Second Life, local voice would be a real boost. And, you go around Novia and you find a lot of open spaces still for population, meaning, there's a lot of places to live. A lot of places are claimed, though. But I'm still looking for that West Bank hangout idea. And it won't be in a player town. It'll be like in Brittany or Brittany Fields or something, where everyone just kind of says, oh, I'm bored, I'm going to go to Brittany Fields pub and see what's going on, kind of thing. And somehow there has to be a draw to a place like that, like chessboards. Like maybe they can get all the NPC chessboards to work first for whatever, and people just go in there and pick up a checker game or a dart game, have a little competition, some duels, have a dueling pit, that everybody can watch. That's not to the death kind of stuff. So there's kind of things. Then those become kind of social hangout locations if they build one place for that initially. Instead of propagated out to every town to have those abilities, then we're continuing to be massively spread out socially.
I think it's coming though. I mean, they're working hard. They just got to get. It's all the framework, right? Get piece by piece by piece, and eventually they'll get back to those, and they will happen. They know that they want to do the chessboard stuff. They've said it in multiple telethons. It's just they got to get launch out first.
Oh yeah, exactly. So every task, I've seen their Jira up there. Every task is tuned to what needs to be done for launch, what needs to be done for revenue, keep the game going. They know there's certain things that will enhance have secondary effects basically down the road, like a chess set. But it doesn't have a primary effect right now. So I'm looking forward to, after launch. Launch to me is simply, they're going to advertise a lot more. It's not going to be a switch being turned on because we're already, basically pre-launched, and it's going to be a little bit of perhaps a different feeling from their company point of view when they go launch, and maybe it'll give us some renewed push to get our communities going in more directions. I can say, hey, now I invited all my friends. I basically have said to a lot of my friends, don't join yet. Wait until launch, because then we're a bit more assured that they're going to reach their primary goals.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
We can.
Yeah. I'm new to you guys. You haven't met me before. I've been friend with Gregor for quite a while now. But I have been in the gaming world for a very long time. I started in 92 in the gaming. Can't name all the MMOs, but do you really think that Soda Shroud is ready for launch in 2 months? If you compare this to other games that the younger generations that's coming up and seeing these games, they're going to look at Shroud, give it their 15 minutes of fame, and get so overwhelmed, and they're gone. And I know this because I've tried to get my son involved with it, and he's played a lot of games with me through the years, but there's just a disconnect in the gameplay. And if we can't get the gameplay wrapped around the characters, then the community will never pull together because there won't be one. Because right now the biggest community is the older community, us, you, PaxLair, people that know it's been around for 20 years. That community's already been together, and we've kind of migrated from UO to this.
Yeah, I'm not sure that right off the bat, or until maybe with some better tutorials and stuff, but up till that point, I don't know that that under a certain age can even handle this game yet. And there's also the whole thing that actually a lot of people kind of get lost and don't realize that the game is there that they want in here, but it doesn't just like hand it to you. You got to be like, okay, I'm now going to go become a crafter, and what does that entail? Or I'm now going to become a merchant or something. And so by it basically, it's like real life. You get dropped in here and you spend the first 20 or 30 years just like trying to figure out what the heck it's all about.
I was going to comment on that. I was going to say, this is more of a what you make of it game than, hey, this is what you do in this game. This isn't, hey, here you go, this is the object of the game, and here is your finish line. This is a world. What do you want to make of it? And that's what I see.
Yeah, well, see, this conversation, and I hate to butt in here, but this conversation, this whole conversation, reinforces what I've been saying all along. And I hope everybody's listening, because this is the truth about Shroud of the Avatar. The foundation of this game has and always will start with the guilds. It always will. These new players, that the disconnect is that these new guilds, or these guilds, need to mentor these new players. That's the only way it's ever going to work, is that the guilds get out there and actually put that support structure that they have fine-tuned over the decades and over the years, and put that support structure under the new players, not when they find you, but when they get off the boat. In other words, when they have those free trial accounts, every guild in this game should be sitting at those boats in those player towns, ready to offer support to those people coming off. I know the hospitaliers are out there, and I know, but they're too sporadic. The hospitaliers do not have a support system under them that can be tapped into. Guilds have that. Guilds have not only the camaraderie, but they have that feeling of family. And most families have a surplus stock of what they have put together for their family. And those stocks need to be extended to the people when they get off the boats. It's always been that way, and that's the only way this game is ever going to succeed, is if the guilds get behind it, universally.
Oh, I agree. There has to be support from other players to help you through the beginning of the game, and that's what helped me through the game as well. So I just wanted to.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I do agree to a certain extent that needs to be done. I think the other thing is that people don't really understand what the game is about, coming in and just looking at it as a regular MMO. I mean, I might be off on this.
No, you're
right. The idea of the game is to go through the three virtues, figure out how you stand and how you come out from that, and then there's the sandbox built around it. So I think we need more information that this is what the game's about, and it's not finishing one quest line. To be good enough to do them all, you've got to jump from quest line to quest line. I had made the suggestion in the journal that they should have it tabbed so that you can follow where you are in each quest line, instead of a jumbled mess that's kind of hard to figure out where you're exactly at.
That's a good idea.
So I think that's part of it.
Great idea.
But it's not just that. I mean, Viola and I have been playing since Persistence, just a little bit before it, but I was like, it's not at the point where I want it yet. And 98% of our time has been making furniture and selling it. That's the game to us. So there's people that want that. And we did go through the 3 quest lines, but it was half of it was just to test them during that period and get feedback in there and make them better for other people that actually cared about that.
I think you're hitting it spot on, like Sean and you guys have. This game can be so many different things to so many different people. And Zeke is right that the guilds need to help people on those different paths. But then people obviously who don't want to be associated with guilds or other people, they just want to play the storyline. So it depends. So what we really need to do is educate people about the 17 different things.
Right.
I've got some comments coming in from the stream here, and coming in from Lightgird. Lightgird. It says he has a 7, 8, 10, and 12-year-old playing the game now, and yes, I was not there to help them out. If I was not there to help them out, they probably would not still be playing. So there needs to be a notification system that lets Hospitalis know when new players showed up. And that I'll comment on in a minute. And Akonda says that the game doesn't emphasize how important getting into a guild is, or have the framework for introducing new players to guilds and what they represent yet. And there needs to be something in the game that directs players to guilds and introduces them to players. Now,
and I brought that up at the last BMC meeting at our very last convention.
Now, under those two topics, real quick, let me just say again that yes, it doesn't emphasize the guilds. What they do try and emphasize is the party system and not just guilds. And one of the things they look forward to is, and we've all spoken about this, an alliance system where we can form alliances to better build those bonds. But speaking to the Hospitalers, I don't think, and this was something that they wanted to do, they wanted to put in a newbie guild, and I was a very staunch advocate against that. Yeah, that don't need to happen. And we fought to squash that because they wanted to throw everybody into a new guild just to introduce them to guilds, and that just isn't the way to do it.
Well, the only way around that, Les, and the only way, and I brought this up to Lord British, was that what they need to have is that every guild that they have awarded a royal warrant to, those guilds, even at the startup screen, and when they first come into their scenes from the startup screen on the Isle of Storms, there needs to be a pop-up list of recommended groups of players. These guys are bona fide. These guys are recognized by Portalarium, and not just one guild, all guilds, a list of guilds. And then have some kind of a comment or a note that when they hover over it or click on it or whatever, gives kind of a brief description of what that guild's all about.
Yeah, I just don't see that happening either because, I mean, again, there are many guilds out there. I belong to several, and that just gets a little too contentious with, and it's something I believe the players should find out for themselves. And again, we all saw this very early on when we first started the game. All the guilds would be sitting out in the newbie areas, and they'd be massively recruiting. And we've seen a big lack in that, and I expect to see that come back here when we hit the launch period. And you're going to see a host of new guilds showing up. You're going to see guilds you've never heard of. You're going to see newbies vying for people's time and energy. And when it comes down to it, I believe that the established guilds are still going to be fruitful and successful in conveying the message and the game sense. The new fly-by-nights, they're going to tick off a bunch of players, and they're going to not have the proper answers because they haven't had the time in. So, but again, it's a crapshoot when it comes to that in guilds. I think it's really up to the player and what they make of it. And of course, I've got people this week. You've seen probably the number of people who I've paraded in and out of TeamSpeak and the new members that we've had in our guilds. I've got a host of other guys who have come in and have, moved into inns or settled into my towns or into other locations, and they're just loving it because most awesome comments I hear these days is, I don't understand why these people on Steam are giving this game bad negative reviews because I just got here and I love it. And of course,
Right. Well, because they got here and they got a support structure underneath them as soon as they got here.
Not even that.
That's the difference.
They got here and they tried it for themselves and they're going, what are these people talking about? All this stuff that they said is going to be in the game is here, They're not missing a whole lot.
But try to envision all that new stuff and all that neat stuff in the game going on, and you're out there solo trying to figure it out on your own. Now, I know what you're talking about with those two guys that you brought into the TeamSpeak, and then they joined the BMC. But those guys had a lot of questions. They had a lot of questions right up front, and they got them answered right up front. Now, just try to envision if they came in and didn't have that support structure underneath them.
Good point.
Well, as an example, a friend that came in, he, Light Tiger, who is now a very high level compared to me adventurer, he didn't realize, because he came in when I was talking to him about it, and I wasn't there, and so he was just playing, and it was 20 hours into the game, and I caught him on Discord or something, and he still had no idea about deck building, like 20 hours into the game, right? So I did a voice one of getting him, okay, go here, open it up, okay, here's how it works. And then like his quote was, wow, that's a total game changer. Like it completely shifted his world. And now, you know, he's out there doing all sorts of crazy stuff that I still haven't done. But that was 20 hours in and had to be told to him.
Right, and that's the difference. I mean, these guys, first off, the hospitalers just don't get enough media coverage. People just don't know when they come into the game, look, these are the people that you need to talk to. And not only that, they have a support structure. And, you know, as much as I love the hospitaliers, and I'm part of that group, they just don't have the support structure and the organization put together as a guild does. I mean, look at PaxLair. Let's use PaxLair as an example. Awesome support structure. I mean, it surpasses even the hospitaliers.
And yeah,
so,
the hospitalers, that's another story. See, and again, we've got the comment in chat here from our watchers. When you set yourself as a hospitaler, you are set as a player that is willing to help new players. And a lot of people see the shiny new purple title they can use, and they go, "Ooh, I like the purple title. I'm no longer an Outlander. I'm a Hospitaler," and they start running around with the Hospitaler title. And then somebody runs up to them and says, "Hey, how do I do this?" And they go, "I don't know. I'm new here."
Well, they don't know. Yeah. They don't know because they're new, and that's why I'm saying. I mean, guilds will always be the foundation, and it always has been for any RPG game.
I think it takes a little bit more of support pushing. You know, again, we need more tips. We need more help content. Of course, we need to push, and with the release coming up, we can still get that done. But they need to let people know that, you know, aside from a blurb in the forums about the hospitalers, and aside from us pushing the meetings every week that we have, you know, they need to let the world know that there is, you know, a hospitaler chat in Discord that's available 24/7. There are dozens of us who are flagged in there that you can message at any given day of the week in the Shrouded Avatar Discord, and all you got to do is go there for the help. But it's not advertised, and it's up to the guys down at the offices to do that, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, man, and this is just my humble opinion, is that the hospitaliers, and I'm a staunch supporter of the hospitaliers, but they need to be set up as an organization, and for a lack of better terms, they need to be set up in a guild organizational structure.
Yeah, we've already nixed that idea because.
Yeah, I know that, but that's the Achilles tendon, because if any Outlander can come on and then immediately throw on a hospitalier tag, well, gracious, you know, this guy may have you coming, you know, going over here to the other side of the world when he don't know, he just don't know.
Yeah, if you can figure us a solution. We'd love to hear it, but
well, that's the solution.
You can't make
is always
hospitalers a guild, because who do you make a leader? Who do you allow to?
It's probably, you should not be going into hospitalators before you've got at least X number of hours in the game.
Well, we've petitioned them to actually make hospitaling a quest, so that you would have to achieve X, Y, Z in order to become. You would know the answers. You would have to take a test, as it may be in game. You would have to go do this and know the answer. You go do that and you know the answer. You know.
I just wanted to ask one question, especially for the viewers there too out there. With the younger generations and the that are coming in and looking at it, how many of them do you actually think go through the manual and reads what's going on in the game?
Zero.
Yeah,
Not true.
that we established several years ago. Nobody reads anything.
I haven't read the damn manual.
There's no RTFM, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that's zero. I haven't even read it. I didn't even know there was a manual for Shroud of the Avatar.
Well, there is. It's a big question mark up on your screen up there. You click on that, and you got a whole manual there.
Well, the boomerang.
So I go to the manual with the question mark when I, don't know how to do something like, oh, how do I, do agriculture? And then I'll go there. I just won't pick up something and try to do agriculture. So I actually use that question mark quite a bit.
For those of you watching the stream, I just switched over screens real quick. For those of you who don't know about this help, I'm just going to show this to you real quick. When you
It's the first time I've ever clicked that question mark.
Okay, it's going to open up a website.
Very useful.
And I'm going to throw this, I guess I got to move this over to the other screen. I wasn't really set up for this, but I'm going to show you all. Okay, and here is the guide. And of course, every release, anything that is new in the release is highlighted in green. So any of this green stuff, I know my screen's not centered properly for you guys there. Let me see if I can move that a little. There we go. All that stuff highlighted in green is stuff that was added into this release. So anything you want to find out that was in the new release is automatically highlighted in green every release, so you know what's new. But yes, there's loads of help out there, and you can search it, you can poke it, you can prod it, and just about everything you ever need to know about Shroud of the Avatar is in that help manual.
And then when you
really, I can poke and prod it.
Sure.
When that's tell you enough, you go to UO Wiki, and you can actually find out where NPCs are. You can get some spoilers and all that. So it's between UO Wiki and the question mark,
and
you can get a help.
Yeah, they're going to be also fixing that. And I don't know if it's coming fully this release, but by 51 they should auto-populate all your questies, all your townies, all that should auto-populate in your map. And again, another one that most people may not know for newbies, that if you're watching out there, I'm going to show you something. Is if you go to your chat box down here, /SodaWiki, space, and the topic you want, I'm going to use NBNN.
Yeah, or you can do like /SodaWiki recipe, and it'll find it.
And it'll pop up on your web page. It'll show you if there's a listing for it, what the SodaWiki listing for whatever it is. So you can query SodaWiki from right inside the game, and it'll pop up the SodaWiki website.
Holy cow! I had no idea.
Know that, did you?
Was in there.
That's the number one thing on the tutorial. Should be those two things should be pointed out in the when people enter. Say before you go anywhere, we're gonna make a little quest item of click the question mark, and then before you go anywhere, type SodaWiki /SodaWiki help or whatever. Or
now,
Iron ore.
Now,
So
one
my
of the other
question
things
is-
I'll point out is there is so much in this game that there is no one person, as much as Jack and I pride ourselves in knowing as much as we can about the news and the latest happenings, we don't know it all. We can point you to it, we can search it quicker than most people because we know what we're looking for, but nobody's going to have all the answers, and there are so many different help sites out there that the information is constantly changing. Do you know how the combat system works today? No, because Chris changed it last week. Do you know how it worked the week before that? No, because he changed it. He changed it the week before that. So the information is constantly changing. So if you're not into putting your time, your homework, and your dedication in, this is probably not the game for you. This is not, hey, here's the end game. Try and beat it in X amount of time like you see these other gamers do. This is a growing, living, breathing world.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Since I don't play WoW or the other games, do they do that kind of hand holding where it's not necessary to go to a help site or to look at the manual or a wiki?
Does who do that?
The other games, like WoW, or
yeah, they have big exclamation
newer
pointers
games,
and question marks, and oh well, you can't
Way
proceed past
simpler.
here until you do this, and they stop you until you do what the game tells you to do. Most games do that.
Right. And they're far, far simpler. This game has layers upon layers upon layers. Wow, you start off and it's like, go kill a rat.
And we have 13, count them, 13 of those 20 cloaks gone. That means there are 7 left for you folks out there. 7 more, and don't forget you will get 2, not 1, but 2 cloaks if you donate during this stream to get the PaxLair and the Virtue Marathon cloak, supporting the Children's Miracle Hospital Network and Team Avatar.
Well, guys, it was nice to meet all of you. Thanks for the chat. Appreciate it. And hope that I'll get to know you guys more in the future. Look me up in the game. I'm more than willing to go out adventuring.
What's your name in game?
Magic Specs.
Take it easy, Specs.
Pleasure.
Good to have you here tonight.
Pleasure to meet you, and absolutely hope to talk again.
Definitely, gentlemen. Nice to meet you. Bye.
Bye, Specs.
Good night, day, whatever.
Magic Specs, SPEXS, added you.
And same. I already have them on my list.
Specs has helped me a lot in the game and learning the combat trees and stuff like that, and how to use them to boost my archery and swords. So he's very fun to hang out with when you're adventuring. So I enjoy hanging out with him.
That's that. 120K for the next telethon stretch goal is juggle fish heads, Winfield. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's what I'm going to suggest. I've tried to get flaming fish packs in for the last 7 telethons, and no, they're not going to go for that.
Flaming fish arrows? What? I like that.
Yeah, it's like they have the flaming packs or shoot stuff out of your backpack or whatever. I think fish head.
Just tell them to go watch the Muppets, man. Yeah, you got flaming fish. We got some more comments coming out of chat today.
Oh, a fish head hat. Yeah, I would wear that. In fact, at the Port William Christmas party, we had a fish head as the tree topper at the on the tree, the Christmas tree. Elwyn had donated to me a fish hat, which was like a shark's mouth that goes on your head, and we put that as a tree topper.
I still think we should have a trout mimic.
Oh, around.
It only comes out for you, Winfield.
Okay, well, I got Hippie and Dollar. Hippie and Dollar, question. The answer for you there is there was just a contest of how to do 1,000,001 things in Shroud of the Avatar, and there was video contests. And again, there was awesome submissions. You can check Shroud of the Avatar's Friday live stream with Beric, and of course the links in in the forums for all that. There are all sorts of help videos. Lace makes help videos. Geggy Media makes help videos. Elena Strongbow makes help videos. There's a host of people who make help videos with all this information. Problem is, like was just said here, the amount of content is just phenomenal, and it's only going to get deeper. Does anybody know the exact number of recipes in game? Anybody want to give me a roundabout number on the exact number of recipes in game? Does anybody even know that? I bet you'll be shocked.
I have no idea.
I know it's over
Yeah, that would be
20,000.
a lot of recipes.
I know it's over 20,000.
Wow.
Over 20,000?
That's what I'm told.
That's a lot.
Yes.
So I take it some of those recipes are extremely rare, haven't been discovered yet, or something.
No, there's just so many of them. You don't realize how many are actually in any given tree to begin with, when you really think about it.
Like I've been doing cooking, and there's about 20, 30 types of things.
Easy.
But not like 3,000 or
But
500.
that's just the tip of the iceberg right now. But when you're looking at armor, okay, you have a sword, and then you have an iron sword, then you have a copper sword, then you have a Constantine sword, then you have a meteoric sword. Now take that and apply that to every single weapon times it by whatever number of differences there are. Those are just sword recipes. So how many sword recipes?
Put those together.
Then put them into bows, put them into staves, put them into wands. Okay, you see easily how those numbers add up into recipes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
The number is ludicrous, and it's only going to get deeper. Now, of course, if that number is more or less, somebody please correct me. But that's what I was told. The number is stupidly, and I think I'm still way off. I might be off by a very large number.
So we're interested in things like libraries too, and that'll take a pass in the next year or so, enhancing.
Now, for you guys all in here, I got Zodrad asking a question. He wants to know what do you think is best for PvE, fire or air? And of course, I'm going to tell you the same thing I tell everybody. There is no best. It's what you make of it.
Whatever makes you happy.
If there was a best, everybody would be doing it. If there was a best place to mine, thank you, Omega Flux, for the donation on 100 bits. Thank you very much. Yeah, if there was a best location to mine, everybody would be mining it. If there was a best location to make gold, everybody would be there. If you wonder why nobody is all in one place, it's because there is no best. It's what works best for you and what you make of it. Now,
exactly.
People go, where do you hunt, Laz? What do you use? You know what Laz does? Laz sits on his ass on a lot and makes money. That's what Laz does. Laz is a merchant. I buy and sell and trade things, and that's what I do for business. I don't need my skills. I don't need to know all the different recipes. I need to know how to make a couple of little things that I sell, and I need to be able to have merchants everywhere. And that's my game plan. I have locations. I got 16 locations right now selling my wares. And if you can't do it in bulk, well, then I ain't going to do it at all.
And that's what's, new players need to understand is you don't even have to play the storyline. You don't even have to go out and do combat.
Storyline? What's the storyline? You're talking to a guy who hasn't read the book, doesn't know anything about the storyline because, why? I don't read anything. And I hate to say it, but I'm one of them instant gratification. I want to go out there and I want to swing my sword. And I want to see blood and I want to kill stuff. And, I want to hopefully not die. But, one of my biggest pet peeves was, why do I have a little reticle? I'm swinging a sword, and I want to hit what's in front of me. I don't understand why I have a reticle. And I'm not going to go into that tirade for everybody, but that was my thoughts, I'm swinging a sword, okay? I just want to hit what's in front of me, what I'm targeting in front of me. And if I'm chasing something, I want to be able to target it and chase it. I don't want to hit what's chasing me. I don't want to hit what's off to the side of me. I just want to hit what I'm trying to hit. And that's all I'm interested in. I don't care about what his dead girlfriend left and I wants delivered someplace halfway across the world. I may get to it, I may not. I don't care about that. And that's just me. That's my game style. PvP, I have no need for it. I have no qualms about it. You know, if you play PvP, God bless you. If you get ganked, I don't want to hear you complain about it because that was your choice. I'm a merchant. And again, you can play the game however you want. It's all what you get out of it. That's just my 2 cents.
Oh, and that's right. So you've just described one type of gameplay that can be done in this.
And that's it. That's just one. I mean, I figured very early on, and people will laugh. They're going to go, Laz, how did you figure that out? And most people don't know. I don't ever have to leave Owl's Head if I never wanted to. If I wanted to just be a little merchant, I could craft hides and sell food from sheep and deer and chickens all day long and never leave the town. Never have to leave the town. I could buy and sell all that stuff. I'd only have one shop, and I'd only be a very lonely merchant there in Owl's Head, but I would never have to leave that single town in my whole existence if I didn't want to. That's how diverse this game is.
Right. And you could do that without being in a guild. You could be a solo player in the multiplayer environment.
Indeed.
Just fine. So there's so many there's probably 50 different combinations, just like there are recipes, of ways you can play this game. So I already know some people just want to come in and run a library. They want to be creative. They want to create plays.
Byron and Wambi. Yeah, there you go. The New Britannia Theater Troupe. There you go.
So when
all the DJs
come in,
we got DJs who just want to come in and socialize.
So maybe when people join the game, there ought to be a very simple click here. What kind of interest do you have to do? Kind of a survey up front saying, oh, I don't want to do combat. I want to do PvP. As they create a character or something. I don't know. It just would give a lot of good feedback as people create new players or create new accounts of what their interests are. But the interests have to be the full spectrum, and they're hard to understand. It's like, libraries? What does that mean? What do you mean I can write books? I've never been in a game before except UO or something that I write books. What do you mean I can set up a business or I can, the decoration committee,
Talk about both of those. The Deco Divas, there's the girls, that's all they do, man. They go around, they deco things, and people hire them to deco their houses.
So it's interesting. The initial gameplay doesn't really illustrate that. It's just really the physical mechanics of how to survive in combat and how to pick up things. I don't even know if it tells you how to craft anything. But that's okay because you can't go through 20 different things of how to create a book and all that. But it has to lead you to something where most people join the game because they're going to go fight something initially. And because that's the way you get gold initially or whatever. So, but they have to, either through guilds, towns, or through the other, the question mark, that they're able to see that there's a lot more to this game than just stepping in and trying to do combat. There's a lot more to this game than socializing. There's everything in between. And that I think is going to be part of the post-launch challenge to get that kind of information out. We see those kind of videos coming out from our video folks who are making all these fantastic.
Now, of course, you want to talk business. Duke Ezekiel Cooper is the man to head up that chat. I mean, he could tell you,
so there's
how many different businesses are being run by just our guild members. Your guild members.
Yeah.
Everybody. I mean, there's so much to do. It's just ridiculous.
Even if there was no functionality to a survey like that, other than maybe it would be interesting for Portalarium to know what their people want to do, just having that list at the start would immediately open up people's imaginations, and they would go, oh, wow, this isn't just combat and crafting.
That's true. It shows them a list of things that could be done in the game. You're right.
Theater, I mean, it still blows my mind. And we had a circus a while ago.
We have fashion shows. We have theater. We have, again, as Jack and I, we do a live talk show in game. Wolftum does his show, the radio folks. I mean, we got all sorts of extracurricular aside from what actually goes on in the game. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, the Novia Market guys, those guys have a weekend sale every weekend. You got people who
Well, I've got a
Orders
factory.
auction. They have in-game auctions. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff. Just it's all what you make of it. Again, I can't stress that enough to anybody out there.
So I look at it as there's primary capabilities to this game. You can buy, sell, you can craft, you can have vendors, you can get a house, you can go out and kill things, you can go out and play a bag of gust ball or whatever, play that game. Those are primary capabilities. Those are all the features that you have to learn. But then there's secondary capabilities of where you're forming a business, you're forming a guild, you're interacting in a guild. There's towns that you're involved with. You're setting up a theater, a play, you're making a library versus just craft a book and write a book. So there's primary stuff that people need to learn that enable you to do secondary things that are probably more meaningful than just the primary stuff of crafting and selling, as a solo person.
I mean, I mentioned the Byron and Wamby's bookstore, didn't I? I had to give those guys a shout out.
And they're really the thing that keep people in the long term. You can go fight and kill things anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, there's hundreds of games to just go pick for carnage, And again, one of them things, what's his name? Gentleman who was just here, Magic.
Magic or something.
Yeah, he was saying you need that. Yeah, squirrel.
You need that squirrel.
I had a train of thought there and I lost it. Squirrel.
Speaking of which, the squirrel dance is just like super cute.
We have a squirrel dance?
The dance, your pet, the squirrel. If you got a squirrel and you have it dance.
Squirrel dance. Oh, gotcha.
It's ridiculous.
Well, now you got me curious. Now I have to see.
Can anybody hear me yet?
Yay!
There we go.
But I've got yours turned up to 200%, so maybe nobody else can.
I can hear you.
Nice. Well, that's probably because I'm soft-spoken because I'm still sick. Normally I'm a big loud mouth. Ask anybody.
Here.
Love you too, Winfield.
What's up?
Okay, so I kind of want to be able to say some things about PaxLair, and it seemed kind of silly to say them on AR and not in here. So if you guys can be just a tiny bit patient and let the current song run through, and I will talk simultaneously on the radio and in here, would that be okay?
Love it.
What's up?
So that's like a minute and 20 seconds. So you can chatter quickly. Oh, I did have a comment actually on the Hospitallers. Why don't they just make it that you have to have been active in game X hours or X days or X weeks or X months or something?
We've gone that route too, and we've tossed that around. You can be in the
So the
team
reason,
for a year
so
and still
they
know
didn't
nothing.
think that idea was bad. It was just, over the course of the years, it's just nothing to program in. There wasn't any capability to do that.
Yeah.
So they didn't figure it was significant yet as a primary enabler. But those things are not completely off the table down the road to make things better.
Yeah, I see the problem for abuse of that dramatically by PvPers and griefers when the game goes live. A lot.
That too.
Yep. And they just have to see the cause and effect of that to overcome a problem to dedicate resources rather than some prediction at this point.
But feel free to send those suggestions to Portalarium.
A few more seconds, and then it's going to be me running my mouth on air.
Okay, silent.
That is funny as hell. That's
Howdy,
cool.
y'all. This is Brazen Spirituality, and you're listening to Avatars Radio, and we are in PaxLair. They're celebrating their 20th anniversary as a guild. And I just wanted to take this opportunity to say a few words on my experience with PaxLair. When I first joined this game, it was probably like literally release 3 or something. And one of the first gatherings that I ever went to was a fishing party in some crazy obscure locale where there was a waterfall and there was a bunch of people pretending they could fish because there was no mechanism to support it. And there was this goofy guy named Winfield, super jazzed about fishing. And I didn't get it, although I shared his enthusiasm because I grew up in Minnesota. Fishing is a thing. And fishing is not just like sitting on a boat with a fishing pole in your hand and a beer in your other hand. It's a thing. It calls you, it calms you, it's a thing. So I understood his enthusiasm and quickly joined in on that hypothetical, theoretical, fictitious, imaginary fishing party. And over years, I have come, I have gone, and I eventually joined PaxLair as a guild. They are an amazing group of people. They are very supportive. They not just offer you technical advice or drag you along to build up your experience pool, but they also do those things. But they also want to know how your life is going and what your problems and struggles are and offer help and advice and support. And they just tap you if you haven't said anything in too long. And they're like, hey, are you good? And it's a very special group of people that are part of PaxLair. And I just wanted to share that it is more than just every guild. It is a special group of people. And so if you're not guilded and you're considering joining a guild, definitely consider joining one of the many PaxLair guilds, because PaxLair itself is not a guild. It's kind of an umbrella. It's kind of just a loose group of friends using a name to give them some sense of unity. But there are several guilds as part of PaxLair that you are more than welcome to look at and consider yourself invited, even if nobody said, hey, would you like to join? If you're interested, walk up to somebody and said, hey, could I join? Because that's just as good. You don't have to be invited to PaxLair. They are not snooty. They do not have some process you have to go through. You just have to walk around and say, hey, I'd be interested in hanging out with you crazy fools because I'm a crazy fool. And that's all it takes. But also, in the greater scheme of things, I mean, PaxLair has been extremely instrumental in several of the developments in Shroud of the Avatar as a group, as something that Winfield pushes in particular, as he is the figurehead of the PaxLair entity. And he is an awesome dude whom I've had the pleasure to meet more than once. He's extremely convivial and generous and friendly and welcoming. And anybody that feels that they should in any way be intimidated need to reevaluate your perspective. Winfield is super awesome dude, number 1 in my book. And I know I say too much, but that's because I'm trying to not cough on air because I've been sick for 2 weeks. And I'm trying to keep my thoughts from wandering off into the ether because I've been sick for 2 weeks. But I really just wanted to thank everybody who has come into the game and come into the Discord channel and has been listening to the radio for the last 3.5 hours. As we have been celebrating PaxLair's 20th anniversary as an entity. I really hope that you have enjoyed your time. I hope that you have felt welcome. I appreciate everybody showing up and giving their support and their applause and expressing their own thoughts and sentiments about PaxLair and about Shroud of the Avatar. I just want to thank everybody for all of their efforts and all of their well wishes, and I hope everybody continues to dance because the music is not ending. But I wanted to get an opportunity to really share a couple of pennies worth of my thoughts with you all. So we will go back to the music, but thank you guys so much for listening and supporting PaxLair in their 20th anniversary. Oh, also, please understand that there is still a few of the limited edition 20th anniversary cloaks available if you make a $25 donation to the Airy Funds Children's Miracle Network campaign right now. It's a $25 donation. Put PaxLair 20th in the comment field, and apparently you will get not one but 2 cloaks for that, because you will also get the Children's Miracle Network cloak, and you will get a cloak for PaxLair's 20th anniversary. So please participate in that. It's a fantastic cause. I'm a huge fan of the Airy Fund. I make no secret of this. And please consider to donate to that cause, because Children's Miracle Network is awesome. Airy's Fund is awesome. What they do is fantastic. And all of your dollars are greatly appreciated. All right, and I will actually let you guys get back to the music. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Brazen. Huzzah.
Yes, thank you very much.
Huzzah!
And yes, there are 13
Huzzah.
cloaks sold. There are 7 cloaks left for you folks interested. Still time to get in on that deal.
Thanks, guys. I know I'm not the most silver-tongued of y'all, but it's always heartfelt.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Perfect. No issue.
Now, of course, I can go back to my first days of learning about PaxLair. And of course...
Don't say we broke your arm.
Oh, hey. It's all Sean's fault.
We blame Sean for everything.
No, but of course, Lookout Rock. Many days spent up on Lookout Rock, hanging out on that waterfall that Brazen was probably describing. I don't know if she realizes that's probably where she was describing.
No, yeah, I know that's where it was now, but then I had no clue.
Yeah, okay.
I was just like, I don't know. I was like drug over to this place where there was this waterfall and people were pretending to fish. That's all I knew then.
We were still pretending to fish back in the day. I remember my first fishing at Winfield, where everybody just stood around because we didn't even have fishing poles back then. But
right, we pretended to fish, but it was awesome, and I totally got the whole fishing as a thing, even though I didn't understand the pretending to fish part. I was like, but fishing is communing. It's a thing. It's not just a fishing pole in one hand and a beer in the other, like a lot of people seem to think fishing is. It's more than that.
PaxLair has not just been just great inside the community, outside the community as well. These guys are just aces, and again, I've had so much experience. My first experience that really floored me with this community is when I was put into the hospital when I first joined the game, and from both sides of the state. Over in Tampa, Striker Sparhawk came, and from the East Coast, Wind Silver Moon came, and they both came to visit me in the hospital. And I was not in this game just a couple months, and Striker was just representing not only PaxLair but his guild, and just a portion of big spectrum of people. Wind was one of my guildies, and of course, just they're local Floridians, and it just really smacked me in the face and said, hey man, this game's got something. These people just came 2 hours plus each way, one way from either side of the state to come see you in the hospital, and they don't know you from a hole in the wall. There's got to be something here to this game. Of course, I come to meet Winfield later, and of course Sean. Both have become very close and now lifelong friends. Thanks to Winfield and PaxLair's generosity, they are the benefactors of our Zoom room this year. And of course, I have a lifelong debt to Mr. Silverfoot, who knows what it sounds like, a bone sounds being reset from halfway across the room, because he was there when I had my bone reset in the hospital. While he didn't break it, he stood there holding my hand and made sure I was taken care of during that event. And for that, I am forever indebted to the good folks of PaxLair. Not just inside the game, but outside of these game. Wonderful community, wonderful people. Can't say enough about them. Thank you, Joe.
Huzzah!
Yes, huzzah. Fish.
Huzzah.
I have eaten and fished with Winfield in person. Yes, I mean, has it gone that far?
I know. He always has fishing parties when I'm otherwise engaged. It makes me so frustrated. I want to fish with Winfield.
Winfield presided at our wedding.
I did with the spoon, with the fish spoon.
I honestly
yeah,
can't believe we pushed this for 4 hours.
Well, there's a lot to celebrate and a lot to talk about.
There's one thing somebody mentioned earlier about being able to stay in these games for a long period of time, and if there's need more monsters, more things to do. So Ultima Online has been around for over 20 years, and they keep it fresh by putting in more monsters every month or so, things to go find, and people run around different shards and look for the drops and take them back to their shard. They cross shard and all that. But our PaxLair people have been there. They do that too, but we've been holding a PaxLair meeting every Tuesday night for the last nearly 20 years, nonstop, in game, every week. And I'm not there hardly much at all. So Nanok runs these meetings, Nanok and Phoenix. And so there was just a group of anywhere from 8 to 30 people that are always doing something in our community there on Chesapeake. And what keeps them going is their interactions with each other. That's what keeps them going. And they just have a lot of fun. They always come up with new things to do, new adventures to go on. They interact with the event managers over there. So the ways you stay long term in a game is more about commitment to other people rather than commitment to the actual game itself. I think it's commitment to the other people, and then the game is just the venue that kind of brings you together, or a place for you to come together. I don't know if anybody heard that.
Oh, we did.
Huzzah!
Okay.
Absolutely. Huzzah.
Huzzah!
I love this shit.
I wasn't sure you were done speaking, sweetie.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, Winfield, you're so correct about that. It is the interaction of people. And I'd be remiss not to tell everybody about Cambria. I'm not exactly sure who introduced her to soda. I'll kill him later. But
runs and hides.
She left UO and left it in great hands, by the way, Cambria. Her town of Naderos, which she was mayor of, and has just taken over soda for much of PaxLair, and I thank her dearly for being such a great player in person.
Huzzah, Cambria!
Yes, and also Madros, who brought the goblins.
Yeah, I can speak on that. Madros and Cambria have brought their talents from UO over to soda and have been absolutely invaluable in helping me keep, get PaxLair up and running and doing this stuff as Winfield does his thing. And I can't say enough for them. They're tireless, loyal, and absolutely great people. And as with all of us, they have things going on in their own lives. And I'm very honored to call both of them very good friends.
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
And also, I'd like to add, talking about the complexities. I don't know if a lot of you people have played UO, but we do a lot of events, archery, darts, some old television games like Deal or No Deal or Let's Make a Deal. But the one thing everybody gets a kick out of is cow tipping. We have cow tipping events, which you can do in UO. And when I'm usually talking to people in real life about UO and different games, I always bring up the point that UO is the only game where you can tip a cow, you can milk a cow, you can drink its milk, you can kill the cow, and you can cook it and eat the cow. And soda is turning out to be
That's funny.
Yeah, soda is turning out to be as complex. But I'm going to have to spend this year getting more involved in soda and keeping involved in UO.
Well, overall, we want to increase, things we do in both realms as we connect our histories together more, as more people understand both directions, and realizing we're 200 years apart. So the reason PaxLair has been successful or so enduring is not so much for any specific leader, and rules to follow and anything like that. It's the culture we've set and the understanding of what kind of theme PaxLair is all about. And that's the same thing we're going to be doing here in Shroud with release and more people interested or whatever. It's what's the theme? What do you feel like when you come into this city or the other cities as part of PaxLair? And where do you get that feeling of nostalgia or the feeling of business or the sense of urgency to go kill something? And those are things that we've done. We're starting to do more in Shroud. We've done that for 20 years in UO. And whether people come in as new or they come back as old veterans, they pick it up right where they left off. And the people keep it going because they get it. They understand it. And whether we're playing on the UO side or the Shroud of the Avatar side, it's all one PaxLair. And we know each other outside of real life, in real life associated with that. And we cross back and forth. So that is my speech. Huzzah!
Huzzah!
Fish.
I love this shit. See, after every speech, I'm just going to shout that out.
There you go. So one thing that's a challenge for us, though, is how do we bridge between us without making either Shroud, PaxLair folks or UO PaxLair folks to feel like, I need to be somewhere else or I need to join with the other side. No, it's somehow we need to leverage each side or each environment to have fun and keep us well connected. And it's going to be a challenge, but I think it'll be a cultural thing. I don't think it'll be a role-playing thing, especially that other groups of people haven't ever tried to do before, perhaps on a game-to-game or role-playing level, rather than like a guild that does multi-games. That's very mechanical. This is integrated between our two universes. Huzzah!
Huzzah!
I love this shit. Yeah, well, the whole two worlds broken apart in history and all the things that they're going to be able to do with that. It's just, yet to be seen. Some we already have. It's going to be interesting. We now have the means to buy a duck and find out what a paladin is. And those are two biggies in my world.
Those are huge.
As a non-UO player, maybe you guys could kind of explain the progression of how, for those of you who are, what are the things that have transitioned and that have pulled you over, as well as I've seen people like complaining, this will never be UO, but then it seems like more and more they're kind of switching over to, maybe this will be, as this last year has happened. What does it even mean?
2 words.
Other than being able to kill and milk kill milk and then feed the milk to the dead cow.
Well, my own opinion on some of that with the comparisons to old UO or will never be UO is that those people are specifically talking about the early days of UO when there was before trauma, when there was just Felucia and there was rampant PKing going on, and for PvPers it was a dream world. It had turned into something honestly the devs never expected to happen. Like anything else, you get human beings involved, and you don't know what's going to go on. So I think they're kind of remembering those rampant days, and they look forward to going back to that. But the reality of that early part was that a lot of people left because they really couldn't control themselves. I think most towns like PaxLair and others that were in there, we didn't mind getting raided once in a while. But every single night and everything that you did became tiresome after all. You couldn't do anything else. And I think a lot of those comments are geared to those days of UO. When Trammel came out, although a lot of people will persist that they hate it, UO's numbers actually climbed to the highest they were ever at the time. So the things to me that are similar is the depth of the game. Like you said, this game has a ton of different layers. There's so much to do that you can't learn it all in one sitting. You can't possibly do that. It takes time. One thing we do as PaxLair, I think Winfield has brought that to Nanak, myself, and others, is that we take a 10-year view of this game. We look at how it's going to be down the line, and the characters, the feel to the game from Lord British and Darkstar is very UO-like, or Ultima-like, I should say. And that's what we were looking for, is the Ultima. I don't think any of us wanted this to be a UO2. That's about it for now.
Yeah, I can amplify on that as well. I think when people say it's not like old UO, we really loved old UO. Shroud isn't going to ever be like an old UO. Is more those early days when, in order to survive, you had to group together. The culture of people demanded that if you wanted to go out and do things, you couldn't even leave the protection of the guarded towns without getting annihilated by somebody, or just building up your skills. You needed to work together. So it was a survival in group-oriented fashion. In Shroud, you can go solo online, party online, and all that, which people have criticized. That takes away from that very basic survival security type of thing that UO started with. If you want to survive in UO, you can go out and try on your own, but it's better if you find a group of people, and that's how I describe PaxLair kind of forming up in that meadow. It was a PvP meadow. Everything was open PvP. In order to refresh your house, if someone stole your key, they owned your house. So you had to figure out how to get into your house without getting ganked on your way in. Because if they got your key, they now owned your house. And so it was all those kind of early mechanics, I think, that a lot of people... Now, people have talked about returning to a pure Felucia shard or something. I don't know if free play ones are out there. And people enjoy those kind of things. So Shroud has gone a different route than the early UO. That's why it's not UO. It is a way to experience this game in multiple ways, not just the 70 possible combinations from a library to selling things to go out and PKing, but it's if you're really interested in the old Ultima game, I still want to, when this thing launches and I hit the reset button on my quest flags, I'm going to do the quests in total. I'm going to do it in game with others, but I'm going to first try it offline as a regular Ultima game, because I did Ultima 4 on. Ultima 4 was the first one I had, and absolutely played those over and over again, and wrote down every NPC thing they said so I could connect the quests. Hopefully it's that kind of experience. Don't know. I hope that episode 2 will have a more Ultima flavor offline storyline as well. So walking over, I guess, in summary, saying it's not the old UO is because of that early UO survival kind of experience and very newness of Ultimas and having the first time that people could actually play an MMO or play an RPG together. This game is not built to be like that.
But if you were to, because the PvP only part of UO was, considering it's 20 years old now, was a small little section of it. If you were to take that out of the equation, what are we looking at between Shroud and old non-PvP, I guess current UO?
Role-playing, crafting.
Yeah, role-playing and crafting.
A serious world.
And quests.
Yes, and the quests, right.
Yeah, I didn't even know if they had quests in UO or if it was just an open world.
We made our own.
So
that brings me back to the thought of what's going to bring people back into the hangout spots, and I had meant to say it earlier, is once we can get some serious tools for quest creation in here, that's going to be really amazing.
Absolutely. So that's where, getting not only a chess set, but actually being able to program your NPCs, program a drop box, a quest box out in the fields here in Pax. People can now have places they can go to and do a Player Town quest or something on their own, or hang out there and exchange ideas or set up a quest on their, with others. Those are the second layer mechanics that come after all the primary mechanics are in. Those second layer mechanics, probably episode 2, are going to really, really boost the community aspect of this. That's why, like Sean said, we look at this 10 years out. I look at my short term is 2 months. My medium term is 6 months. My long term is 2 years. And anything come to me with ideas. If it can't, survive for 2 years, it's not really a long term idea kind of thing.
Huzzah!
And going back to what Winfield said in the beginning of UO, you had to group. We had to have a community spot, which was West Brit Bank, and if you needed armor repaired, you'd have to go to a blacksmith and trust him when you gave him your best armor, which is by today's standards junk. You had to trust this guy that he would repair it and give it back to you, and maybe charge you a few gold.
Reputation was everything.
Yes, it was. And then there was a large battle in Britain, which drove all the bank sitters out, but they moved to Luna Bank, and they were there for quite some time. But now, as is with Shroud, of the not so much. You find 3 or 4 people that are there and are actually burning off kills, because it takes 40 hours to burn off a kill, but you have to be in game, and there's enough movement at the bank where you won't log out. And there are certain times of the day that people will go there and gather and talk and maybe trade. If you're in the game and you say, does anybody have like this sword, a special sword? And somebody will say, yeah, I have it. Meet me at Luna Bank. So that's about the amount of traffic they get, because everybody gets in game, leaves their talks either in chat, some type of chat, and they plan on doing something. They go and do it, and for a few hours, and then either do something else or log out back at their house. So that's about in UO now on our shard, and Chesapeake is a fairly populated shard, not as much as Atlantic, but it's more than most others that are left. So you don't see many people gathering unless there's an event going on. Either one driven by a event moderator or a player.
I will say this too. I think a lot of the folks that are left in UO, a lot of them are not forum users or users of this kind of technology either.
So another thing as well. So 2 things. One, Nanak, you mentioned people need to trust the blacksmith. Well, early on in PaxLair, one of the reasons people came to PaxLair, even the PKs, was Thelorn in the Second Chance Provisioner was there with his crew nearly 24/7 for several months in 1998. And at his forge, he was able to, he didn't care who came in, as long as you didn't kill them. If you got killed, I don't think we could ban people in those days, but maybe we could. But if a red came in and said, fix my armor, he would do it, and he wouldn't even charge. So they knew that these PKs couldn't go into regular towns to get stuff fixed. And nobody had enough blacksmiths around those early days with enough skill, but Thelorn had the skill. Also, these PKs would go down the road, either within our town or whatever. Thelorn didn't really care. He's like, yeah, whatever, I'm neutral. Kill somebody, kill a bunch of monsters, steal a bunch of gold. Thelorn set up the first in-game player-run bank for gold. He had ledgers of people's names and how much gold he had on account for them. So, PK Larry would come in and say, Thelorn, add this to my account, drop 10,000 gold on Thelorn. It went into a big bucket, a big chest. And then when PK Larry said, I want to take 5,000 out of my account, Thelorn had it. And then they actually, through the course of several people on the team, actually maintained a hard copy ledger of this gold they were retaining for people. And they were trusted, and they did it. And they were successfully doing that. Now, the converse is, come to Shroud of the Avatar. They've taken so many, they've included so many mechanics already where those kind of creative things are not necessary, which takes it away from the community to work around or build. We can put banks on our own lots now. You can put tenants on lots, and they can live there without their own housing. So the difficulty factor of living in the world, or the challenge factor of living in the world, is lower than it was in UO, which forced a lot of people to work together. So here there is, people aren't forced to work together as much from a challenge point of view. Maybe from difficulty, how do you do things? But from a challenge point of view, here in Shroud, there's a lot of stuff people can do on their own and never have to rely on others. That's kind of be a defining bit of how the culture and people work together here. Huzzah.
Huzzah.
Those are all great stories, guys. Thanks for sharing.
Huzzah.
So what we do to do those things that Port Alarium hasn't figured out, we create our own plays. There's no, we can sell our own tickets or whatever. And we invite people in, and that forms a thing that Port Alarium hasn't been able to provide for us, where people can stand up and push in a piece of text, and then it just auto-scrolls kind of thing. So we do those creative things ourselves, and I think that's what brings a lot of us together, are those things going beyond the mechanics to the third level. First and second effect are mechanics. Third level is what the players do with those first and secondary capabilities and turn it into something that Port Alarium never even thought of, like the bag ball or the gust ball kind of idea, that then turned into a primary capability. But it was a third order capability that people are pushing around a player with the gust spell. And they'd still be doing that today if we didn't create a ball. So, huzzah.
So, one thing I'm really excited with on those strange things that have cropped up, and looking forward to see where it goes, is we at Barrett Chaos several months ago, they had a murder mystery night, and it was rudimentary. As more tools come, it'll be easier to run something like that. But man, just the idea of being able to host that kind of thing in the future is really cool.
Oh, absolutely. I think that this is the kind of team that we're going to see as the years go by, and more tools that make this a much more immersive game for RPing and questing and that kind of stuff. And Vlad, so when UL came out, it was totally panned in all the gaming magazines, everything. The first 2 months or 3 months were a minor nightmare. It was like two steps forward, one step backwards. Now I can remember there was about a 2 week period where nothing in the game spawned. Not a chicken, not a squirrel, nothing.
Jeez, that's a disaster.
Yeah. And then there was other times where you went home and it was surrounded by monsters. You could hardly make it to your front door to get in certain areas. They just missed a comma or a colon or something, and we had for Christmas one year we got licorice. The next year we got bacon. It looked exactly the same, but somebody, like I said, missed a colon or a colon or a semicolon in the thing, and it came bacon, and they left it in the game.
It's awesome. I wonder if the reviews was why I didn't play back then, or if it was Quake 2 that was doing it.
Oh yeah, I still have some images of the covers for the reviews on that. But the one beauty about UO, and the one thing that I think kept people staying in the game despite all of that, was at the time it was cutting edge. There was nothing else like it out there where you could get into a game and interact. I remember my brothers actually brought me into beta back in '97, and just the fun. I mean, I had more fun going to Shalom and killing chickens or being killed by chickens than I've ever had in any game up to that point. I mean, I just laughed my ass off for hours, and I think a lot of people remember that, and it's not something you can recreate. It was the first of its kind, and you can't recreate that kind of situation.
Well, hopefully we're going to take it up a lot of notches.
And we can. So here's an idea. Back in UO, I used to hold meetings, every Tuesday, still do. They do. And every once in a while, I would move the meetings around each week. And we would go sometimes to, let's hold a meeting in a dungeon. Let's see if we can do that with monsters around. And we literally held a 1-hour meeting. I was always a newbie. I could hardly protect myself. So all the knights would guard me. I had my own knights, for a while, the PaxLair knights, they had an oath to protect the governor or the mayor and be honorable and all that kind of stuff. And then we had guards and then merchants, and everybody would go down into this dungeon. 20 of us try to figure out how to get down there to where there were tables. And we even had a chef down in one of them cooking at one of these cooking places. There were monsters around. And then people during the meeting, while we had discussions, had to be killing stuff, and nobody died. It was great.
Pretty cool, man. Pretty cool.
Yeah. So think about where we can go in Shroud, into some of these, areas in the Rift or whatever, the Rise or whatever, and go places where we can go as a group, and there's tables. And there's some, library somewhere or whatever. We can sit down at tables and hold a meeting while crap is trying to kill us. And we try to hold a semblance of a meeting. And we also great. Down the line want to get away for a couple of our meetings from using this kind of technology to, some of the simpler meetings where you don't have to be as verbose about things and just bring it back into game. Yeah, doing the text chat in game. I would always prepare my comments ahead of time, like I did my speech, and just copy paste in. And other people would as well. We'd have reports from different people when we were more organized. We had departments and divisions, and we had the commerce area, we had the military defense area, and all that. And we had 70 or 80 people in the city, and all that flowed pretty good. And we'd hold all our meetings to 1 hour, and never beyond that if we could. Did you use UO Wedding back then? I always wondered how you typed so damn fast. Yeah, it was all UO Wedding, so you just click and it pastes, click and it pastes. Now I have to do copy paste.
Yeah, we need a couple of good chat programs that'll allow you to send the emotes, do things like weddings and speeches, and My favorite, of course, was UO Curse. For those of you who
Because you could curse on it?
Well, it had like 20 stock, you know, not actual curses, but you know, scallywag, but it had some great one-liners. Let's just put it that way. You foul-smelling, fishy fisherman. I mean, it just had some really bad put-downs.
Oh, yeah,
good. And you could add your own.
Now, one thing we couldn't do in UO, we couldn't really do dance parties because our characters didn't dance. And I don't think we really sat around and listened to music either.
No, not at all.
Didn't have the music like that. All you got to listen to was somebody playing on their lute. Or their harp, was it? And they're playing their taming.
Yeah, there was a music conservatory in Britain, in UO. Great spot, but the stage was so large, and at least in the early days, your screen on the classic client, you could only see about 8 spaces in either direction and in your direction. So you couldn't even see everybody in the, if you sat in the stands, you couldn't even see anybody on stage.
The one in the town?
Yeah, in Britain, there was a conservatory on the north side.
I don't remember that stage being that big.
It was, if you sat there, the stage was about 6 squares, and if you sat in the audience, you could only see about halfway across the stage. You couldn't see all the instruments. You'd have to stand right up next to the stage or beyond the stage to see all the musical cast.
Yeah, my memory probably doesn't serve well.
Well, speaking of dancing, my big, huge claim to fame here, guys, is according to a screen cap I've got, I was the first person to actually ask Lord British to dance. Apparently, up until I said something, people just walked up and dry humped him. I don't know.
Interesting.
So that was it.
Huzzah!
Huzzah! That's right.
I don't think I have the dry humping note, so okay.
You can't dance, you can't sing.
Yeah, and I was actually the first guy knighted by him back in Valemark. He was testing his knight emote and trying to lop my head off a few times. Way back.
Huzzah for not getting your head lopped off.
At least not permanently. I've never lost. Well, rumors have it I have lost my head once, but it's never been confirmed. And never live since release have I died. I've not lost my head.
But never your tongue.
Never my tongue.
Okay, in UO, I lost my head a lot, but in Soda, I've actually only let one person knock my block off.
Was that to make a...
And that was so that they could have my head for the ornament stuff for the fundraiser.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't done that yet either, so my head's rare right now. I don't know how rare it'll be.
Yeah, I don't PvP. I don't plan to start PvPing, so it's going to stay rare.
So some of my alter egos might go out in PvP, but Winfield is just a nice guy.
Yeah, all my egos are boring and nice.
So what's going on with another quick topic? Various competitions. There's I don't know if there's any Gust Ball competitions, tournaments going on, or are there any combat PvP tournaments? I know there was tournaments every Sunday for the longest time, like at 6 or 7 p.m. I don't maybe even BMC ran tournaments every week. Are those kinds of things still going on?
I believe, darn it! Of course, I went to say something and my brain went blank. The guild, it's all PvP, EVL, right? Yeah, I think they still have a weekly PvP tournament on Saturday afternoon.
Virtual
They
League.
do. Should be getting
So
ready
it
to
says
happen here
Venatrix
soon.
Luke Blackus. In fact, it's probably happening in a couple hours.
Yeah, I think it's 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock or something.
Yeah, like I said, should be anytime soon.
But again, I'm not a PvPer.
Are those just weekly competitions, or is it for an annual victor?
They do seasonal.
Seasonal.
There's like so many seasons in a real year. And I think they're on season 8 right now.
And how do, with all this new technology we have versus what we had in UO, where we couldn't even hardly build a website early in those days, how are those seasons, how can I go see what the status is of those seasons? Where?
They have a leaderboard listed someplace. I'm guessing you probably have to go to their guild website and look for the information out there. Otherwise, it's just an event that's posted on the Shroud of the Avatar community calendar on the NBNN.info website.
Okay, so calendar still pulls that, and then you click on something that goes to a website that gives you all the information about the event kind of stuff, yeah.
Yes, and a reminder from Jack that when you have events like this, you should have them on the calendar.
Yeah, I don't remember if this one made it.
It did not. That's why I'm saying a reminder from Jack.
Not until late last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, PaxLair has a calendar. Multiple people can add to it within the PaxLair government or whatever we want to call it. We can improve that. I can't maintain. That's why we'll have several people that can do that. It's just a Google Calendar, so it's using real life capabilities. It's not associated with anybody's website, and it streams right into and it's filtered right into NBNN listing. Which it also still shows up on Avatar Circle, I think. I think that's still up. So these calendars can be used everywhere. Kind of a ring of calendars. Because they're all publicly available.
So with Gust Ball, I put in a request not too long ago, and I'm curious if any of you guys are Gust Ball League players. I was just doing it back when Andrew Silverton was running competitions, but I'm really hoping that maybe around episode 2 they're able to get some changed up physics, and I was wondering if any other players had any opinions on that. No other players?
I don't. I think Hazen would actually be a good guy to talk to about that. Or Bambino, but Bambino hasn't been around in a spell, I believe.
Kind of hoping for a little more physics of being able to pass the ball rather than just blasting it back and forth, standing in front of each other, blowing it back and forth. And I understand there's no way that's making it particularly before launch, but
actually there are physics, you just need to learn them.
Go ahead. Yeah, but the physics are basically straightforward with an up and a set distance every time.
You haven't explored the physics of Gust Ball then. If you know
maybe I'm just bad at it.
Then you know that your gust will point the way your character is pointing. First off. Second, you can use juxtapose and actually pull the ball instead of push the ball. There's all sorts of interesting tactics. There are group tactics for moving the ball. There are group tactics for blocking the ball. There's a whole bunch to Gust Ball aside from just casting a gust on the ball. Trust me.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. So I'll bust out my Gust Ball again and do some more practice.
Yes, try standing in one spot and turning your avatar and then using Gust and seeing the different effects it has.
Well, I know you can, whatever direction you're facing, it sends it that way. But it often, when I was in but maybe it's because it was smaller, it was like 1v1 most of the time. So it seemed like it always devolved down to like two guys, basically whoever ran out of gust first.
Well, see, again, they're in competition. Excuse me. In competition, it becomes a focus management game when you have two teams who know what they're doing. And of course, there was introduced the inclusion of being able to sub out a player midstream. Of course, rules apply. You have to be off the field before the other player can come on the field because of focus management. Again, it gets a little bit more. The biggest problem with the dynamics you're talking about and the physics are usually related to the terrain the field is laid on, and that's still getting stuck.
Okay. Okay. So two specific questions then. Player A kicks the ball, gusts the ball straight ahead, and player B hits it with they're off at like a 45-degree angle from player A, but farther down the field. They hit it. Does the ball continue moving forward with its previous force and the new force acted upon it, or is it just the new player's force takes over and kicks it straight from where player B was at?
It will move it to point where it was gusted to by point A and then move to wherever it's pointed to point B. Now, if you've ever played hockey or soccer, it is quite possible, especially in teams of three, to see a team use a situation where one guy is angled one way, one guy is angled another way, and they actually center and clear the ball to make a goal. One guy will pass down, one guy will push it across the court.
Or in
yes.
Physics?
Yeah, in gust ball. One guy will pass it downfield, another guy will be sitting there waiting to gust it across to the guy waiting on the other side of the field, and he'll be in position to try and gust it towards the goal. And again, it takes teamwork, it takes coordination, and of course, you got to look out for the other guy who could just stand in front of the ball and block the ball, because that is a physic. If you're standing in front of the gust ball, the guy who's trying to gust it right past you, he can't gust it past you. He can gust it around you to an angle, but he can't gust it directly through you. So, lot more involved than you would think about. And probably because you're only a one-on-one playing with it by yourself most times. That would be my guess.
Okay, so is the physics like additive, as in A shoots it and B adds to the momentum, or is it completes A and then it goes to B?
Completes A and goes to B, but there are times where A is pushing one way and B is pushing the other way, and they will tend to negate each other.
Okay.
So it sounds like when you gust, the gust that A does has to fully complete, and the ball comes to a stop where it completes its mechanic, its physics. And then B press on.
Depending on how you see that due to latency and all that good stuff, depends on how good of an experience you have as well. I've seen games early on where I didn't have great video, where I'm watching one thing and I hear somebody yelling goal, and I haven't seen the ball clear halfway across the field yet because it was lagging so much. So you got to take things like that into account.
Right. What do you think about it just having ball physics? So if it's kicked, I'm just going to say kick because I keep saying it anyway. If it's kicked forward and has a force applied, that modifies rather than waiting for the first one to finish.
Just to interrupt for a minute, guys, I do have to. My wife just got home from some tests, and I need to go talk to her. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it, and I'll see you in game later on.
Thanks for everything, Sean.
The crowd is fizzling here, and we should probably move this on. This has become more of a discussion than the party these days right now. But thank you, Sean. Yes, let's get this on screen real quick.
So what do you discuss during a party versus a discussion? What do you use voice for the party? We sing?
You never sang
No.
the fish song for us.
No.
Right?
But the fish song is in the Avatar's radio repository.
Yes. Yeah. But
I
see,
mean,
the great thing would be to have 50 people in Zoom and have everybody in squares like the Muppets, so you can see everybody singing the fish song. That would be the great thing.
One thing we haven't done is we haven't put a tune. We haven't created a tune.
Yeah, we've tossed it around. We haven't found an actual tune for it yet. That's right.
We only have the lyrics right now.
But yeah, as mechanics for Gus Ball, there's a lot to be learned if you're actually working with the teams and all that good stuff. And there are some idiosyncrasies. Like if you're in a gust-off, one guy against the other guy, it really comes down to that 1 millisecond of who hit it first. Sometimes the ball will just sit there because they both hit it at the same time, and the ball just goes right up in the air. A lot of interesting things happen. But I'd love to see some more mechanics on it. Absolutely.
Okay, that was my curiosity. Is if it did start functioning more like a ball, is that something that people would like to see?
Remember, the ball is just a pet with a little bit more functionality.
That's right. You guys used to have a person that was the ball for a
the
while.
original ball was Bambino Ludovate, the creator of Gus Ball. That's right. But folks, with Sean leaving and departing and the crowd starting to slim, we've been here for several hours bringing you the PaxLair 20th anniversary party and festivities here in Shroud of the Avatar.
We still got a crowd.
Yeah, well, as I too have things to do. I have deliveries racking up and orders to get to and food to eat. not in-game food.
Thanks for streaming, Lass.
So I'm going to thank everybody who's watching out there on stream. I'm going to thank everybody here in game and in Discord, and folks joining us in game to celebrate. Of course, don't forget there are cloaks left. Let me just take a quick count on that. See how many of those, if any more, have sold.
Is it just going to be first come, first serve till they're gone?
It's going to be limited to 20. Correct. So
right, but I'm just saying, how do people know when they're gone?
Okay, well, I'm going to look here and tell you.
Because I'll still keep telling people to get them until somebody tells me to quit, basically.
All right, basically if you go to this site, or if you still see the link, I'll give you the link again. Using that link.
Gotcha.
And I guess we're counting up from where Sean made his donation. So you will see Sean's $10 donation, and everybody above that, up till 20 donations, will get a cloak. We'll get both cloaks.
Where are we donating?
So yeah, 13 cloaks down and 7 still
Got
available.
it.
And again, that'll go, I guess, until the 20 are filled.
Till the 20 are gone. Got it. Okay, awesome. Thank you,
go
lads.
ahead and let those folks know out in the radio, and thank you, of course, for
I will, and I'll keep
doing your part
pestering
and
them in
filling
Discord
in.
too.
Send our best to the Mistress of Chaos. Sorry she couldn't make it today.
Right, of course. I know she was really unhappy about this.
I'm sure. And with that, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll catch you all on Monday.
Thank you, Labs.
Thanks for streaming.
Streaming, Labs.
Fish.
Minnows.
Huzzah.